Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody from all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode on this Thursday afternoon of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Watch. Make some noise, yes sir. Clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We are back with another action-packed show for today as we come with every single week right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. We're so happy to be here with you. We're so happy to enjoy this near the end of the week. Hopefully you had a good time. Hopefully you've been enjoying all the news we brought to you throughout the year or throughout the however long we've been doing this thing. We appreciate you being here. We got a lot to cover. We got Tank and potentially a mega fight that can happen with Manny Pacquiao. Now again, nothing set in stone. Let's be clear now. Nothing set in stone. These are rumors, but with speculation comes a necessary talk for conversation that needs to happen. So we're going to talk about if that fight takes place. And if it did indeed happen, who's going where? In terms of who's going to whose weight class. And if it goes the way I think it would go, but that opens up a whole new can of worms for what we see with Tank's career. Now that is, in all honesty, further constricts his ability to do what he's been doing for the past 4 years of his career, which is avoiding competition, if indeed it goes that way. But again, we'll talk about it later on. But also we need to talk about Haney and Brian Number Jr. We didn't get to talk about it because, again, the Usyk situation and all this stuff going on with them being two-time disputed, the historical stuff, the GOAT competition, all that stuff. We also now got word, Norman and Devin Haney, they've agreed, VADA testing, all that stuff. Stuff's going to happen August 1st. So, with that being said, everything seems all well and good, right? Well, that may not really be the case because there could still be some undersitting problems that still makes the situation that the Haneys may try to pull out of this fight. Now, again, who's to blame on whose side in terms of if this is indeed still an issue? We're going to delve into that, and also what would they do to try to get out of it. We're going to talk about that as well as much more on this show. Again, we got a lot to cover just in a short amount of time to do it. It's been kind of a slow news week. I can't lie. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to lie to you. But even still, we're going to make this worth your while. And at the end of the show, we got the championship rounds where when you hear the sound of the bell, it will be time to make your voice be heard and let yourself be seen for the masses to hear and to have your whatever questions, comments, debates, just talking points, topics that you want to talk about, stuff we haven't covered yet on this show. Whether it's football, whether it's basketball, whether it's boxing, video games, movies, sports, whatever the word you want to discuss. If I can talk about it, we're going to talk about it right here in the championship rounds at the end of the show. 30 minutes to an hour, most likely longer, with however long or however much you all say. We go and we make it happen. No question about it. But, again, we got a lot of show. We ain't got a whole time to do it. Intro's out the way. Oh, I almost forgot. If you're new here, go ahead, leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel and join the empire. Come on in to this incredible army that we got building up as a community. Hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube, as well as be sure to share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building. Yes, sir, building up this empire, this conglomerate, this monolith of a community together. We done passed 1,900 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. We did it. We did it. It got stagnant a little bit, but brother, we done cracked the 1,900 mark. We are less than 100 subscribers away from hitting 2,000 subscribers, a major milestone in the world of this channel, and the growth, in the development, in the in the all-encompassing community that we're bringing about with this show. Hey, we getting somewhere. We getting somewhere. Yes, sir. We moving up. And it's all thanks to you and your support. I couldn't do this without you. I do this because I love you all. No question about it. I can't see it, but hey, I feel all the love and the adoration and just, the camaraderie that we're building through this screen. And again, if you want to support the show, you want to keep this thing running, if you can, while we're waiting on monetization, hey, Cash App, PayPal, links in the description as well. If you can give and support the show, would mean the world to me. Anything we'll do to help out, to keep the lights on, help us invest back into the show with equipment, lights, whatever, equipment, lights, excuse me, said that too quickly. and any other means to make this show bigger and better and even more intuitive for you all, the viewing and listening public, because that's what you all deserve. No question about it. But okay, now we got all that stuff out the way. Now it's time to talk about the topics of the day. So, with that being said, we got boxing to talk about. We got sports to cover. Since talking about boxing first and foremost, it is time to step into the ring. Yes, sir. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway with all of us talking again with the first topic of the day being some conversations with Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. But before we get into that, let me read what you had to say in the chat conversation down below. I think, let me see. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I see the chat. I don't know why it ain't clicking. Apparently. Oh, yeah. Red and yellow hearts. Because if you didn't know, we got some breaking news. I almost forgot to say that at the start of the show. We got some breaking news in the world of wrestling, which has affected a lot of people. Hulk Hogan is dead. Yeah. This happened literally right before I got on. It's kind of a little bit. That's why it's kind of delayed the start of the show. For those of you who didn't know, and again, we'll, just real quick, because I know we got some people in the chat already telling me. Let me see a BB. How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning into the show. Yes, I heard right before I got on, Hulk Hogan was gone. My gosh. Yeah. Albert Real, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning into the show. But yeah, Hulk Hogan, the immortal Hulk Hogan, has Terry Bollea, the man behind the character, has officially passed away at age 71. It happened roughly 20 minutes ago, right before, more like 10 minutes. But it's like, this happened right before I got on here. And again, I know we have topics to cover. I do understand it, but real quick, we can take some time real quick, because I know a lot of people in this channel grew up on, and have lived with Hulk Hogan throughout their entire career, and at some point in time was a wrestling fan. So yes, the immortal red and yellow Hulkamaniac Hulk Hogan has officially passed away at age 71. Now, for the wrestling side, cornerstone in wrestling, no question about it, is one of the barometers that helped bolster wrestling into what it was today. Helped to, again, from the 70s all the way into the 80s. Brother, he was part of that golden age of wrestling that was really big on character. And my gosh, there was nobody at that point in time, arguably in wrestling history, that's been as much of a larger-in-life figure, that has fully encapsulated what the embodiment of charisma, flair, and outright, I guess, testosterone-driven intensity. As with Hulk Hogan, as you can go with his countless promos, countless matches, and the fan base that he had garnered is indeed incredible. Again, in the wrestling world, can never be forgotten. With that being said, though, we are real on this show. The brother this is going to be, I think I saw somebody say this on Twitter. You're probably going to see one of the most, if you are a fan of Hogan, you're probably going to be pretty shocked at what's going to be said about him over social media and over with fans abroad of wrestling. And it's kind of because he brought it on himself, I'm not going to lie. With the continuous after wrestling stories that came out of what he did with life outside the ring. A lot of racist stuff with him and his daughter and dating people. Stuff that happened afterwards. And a litany of stuff where he has done over a bunch of his colleagues and fans as well. It's a little bit shaky. I ain't gonna lie. So just be prepared for that. But in terms of the wrestling world, this is a huge blow. A mega blow to the world of professional wrestling. This is one of the icons of this sport. If you have a Mount Rushmore, most people was gonna have Hulk Hogan on there as one of the cornerstones that this whole entity was built off the backs of. Again, with Stone Cold, Rock, Undertaker. If you want to call John Cena in that same regard, you can call that too. But most likely Hogan is on that Mount Rushmore of people who the biggest impactful entities to exist in professional wrestling. He is that. Most likely without him, we don't get to see the level of wrestling grandeur and worldwide acclaim, at least for WWE, but just for wrestling as a whole, that we see today, that has sustained for over, 50, 60 years, even before Hulk. But he was one of the key proponents that helped make it a staple that was undeniable. So we would not, hey, for that, we give props. And he's going to be missed in that regard. But at the same time, let this be a lesson to you that you have to be very careful with how you walk. Because even with somebody as great as Hulk Hogan, with the legacy that he created, it should have been unshakable. You're going to see, if you go over social media, brother, it ain't the same farewell that you expected. Because he messed himself up in a lot of ways, lying against a lot of people and having a lot of sentimentalities against groups of people that eroded a lot of the stuff that he represented. Let this be a lesson to watch how you walk, because nobody is too big to become below what their greatness deserved to be. Because it should have been nothing but celebration, but now it's celebration. But for half the population, this is for a different reason. For half of the wrestling base, and I'm not talking about just black folks, I'm talking about just people in general. In today's wrestling world, it's split. I'm telling you. So it's a shame. But man, it's sad that he died. I am bad about that. But yeah, but let me see. Yeah, I remember Hulk Hogan when he had. I remember Hulk Hogan when I was a kid back with Piper, Andre, Macho Man. Oh yeah, absolutely. And someone in the early days with Yokozuna, Bret Hart when he won the title. When Bret Hart lost the title to Yokozuna, he came in 30 seconds, beat him. I don't like that booking, but hey. Has had multiple title reigns, one of the longest title reigns we've seen in wrestling history, and more. I think upwards of a 9-time WWE champion, has held a foothold in wrestling for over 40, I think over 30, 40 years, just about. So yeah, man, but it's going to hit a lot of people. It's shocking. I didn't think it was going to die, at least not this early, at 71 years old. It's insane, absolutely. But again, rest in peace to Hulk Hogan, though there is some spite held against him, which I understand. And let this be a lesson as we're moving forward to the actual topics. Be careful how you go about your life, because no matter how great you are, your legacy can still be affected. Even if you are one of the best at whatever you do. Hulk Hogan, especially with what we see with social media today, is a prime example of it. To some degree, he did this stuff to himself. But what his legacy is as a wrestler can't be denied. As a person, another conversation. But again, we don't want anybody to die. And sadly, one of the greats have passed away. But still, we need to move on. Now let's get into the actual topics of the show. Haney versus Norman. All right, let's go. Let's work. It's time to work. It's time to get popping. It's time to get rolling. We paid our respects. We've provided context. We've done everything we needed to do. Now, let's get into the world of boxing that most of you all are here for, with Haney versus Norman. And will Haney pull out of this fight with Brian Norman still? Now, you may ask, Jean-Luc, you're crazy. Why are you even talking about that? What in the world? What does this have to do with what's going on with Devin Haney? They agreed. Haney or Norman agreed to do the VADA testing with Devin Haney. No longer is that an issue as to why, it's a problematic thing. Some people may be thinking, hey, Norman shouldn't have had anything to hide, so he shouldn't have been that you do testing outright. And then bing, bang, boom. What was the big deal with the whole issue with doing what Bill Haney said with the whole start testing now instead of with what was said with the contract? There's a lot of stuff. But either way, that's now all put to rest. But there's still some concern, though, especially from the people from the likes of Sean Porter, that we're going to see people go through. And Bill Haney and Devin Haney may still potentially have a way to pull out of this fight, and we're gonna discuss that. But let me see real quick, so I'm not missing nobody's chat. Let's see what's going on. How's it going? Oh, yeah, as I already said, I missed this chat the first time I was reading. Saturday we got Xander versus Jorge Garcia. That's right, we do. Now, full disclaimer, I'm not gonna be able to stream it. I'm sorry. I know I don't want to miss it, but I'm not gonna be able to do it on this weekend. Xander Zayas versus Garcia for the title. Sadly. Not gonna be able to do it. Got some stuff I gotta take care of. I'm still gonna watch the fight, but I'm not gonna be able to be here streaming the fight. Sadly, we're gonna talk about it on Tuesday, and later on in the show, we're gonna have a discussion about that and what he can do if he does get this win. Now, what's the next steps for Zayas? Because I'm high on Zayas. I love Xander. I really do. I really do love his style, and I want to see him go far. But what I need to see in this fight to see how far he can go, we're going to talk about that later on in the show. No question about it. Let me see. While I'm going to focus on Ozzy Osbourne. Yep, see, we had Theo die, what was it, Tuesday? Theo from Good Times, or not from Good Times, Theo from The Cosby Show. He died on Tuesday. Ozzy Osbourne died on Wednesday. Oh, excuse me. No, Ozzy died on Tuesday. And then Theo. Oh, was it back up? Whatever. It's been 3 days. It's been 3 straight days of Theo, Ozzy Osbourne, now Hulk Hogan. Brother, everybody buckle your seatbelts because hey, something's in the air. I'm going to tell you right now, something's in the air. I don't know what. I'm scared. I'm horrified now. Shoot. What? Are we gonna see another legend go within a week? Is it gonna be 4 straight? I hope not. Lord knows I hope not. This is a lot. This is a lot to deal with. My goodness. I am really concerned. I am not gonna lie. Let me see. Let me see. Haney's not going to sleep. He's going into hibernation. A lot of people are saying Haney's gonna get knocked out, and that fear is one of the reasons as to why people are saying that Haney, even with Norman agreeing to body testing, may still find a way to pull out of this fight. Now, Sean Porter had a point on this. Let me see if I can pull it up over social media when it comes to him talking about Devin Haney and his concerns with that whole situation. I'm gonna try to find the clip as I'm going through and talking and reading through you all's show. But let me see. Let me keep on reading while I'm also researching. Coach Eddie, what's good, brother? How you doing? Thanks so much for doing this show. So glad that you're here. Let me tell you something, brother. The Hulkamaniacs will live for that. Hey, man, I like the wrestling. The wrestling legacy will definitely live for forever. Absolutely. And again, it's unexpected that he just out the blue. We just saw this brother everywhere selling beer. I think I just saw him on some show somewhere. I was shot. And let me see, and over 100,000 unknown people. Yeah, no, again, we're not trying to over, how do we say this? When it comes to paying respects to death, many people knew Hogan, but many people knew Osborne, many people knew Theo. Doesn't put their deaths above any of the others. Let's be clear. Let's be clear about that. That don't make their deaths any less impactful. It's just many people had a level of connection with them that may have, again, the other 100,000, they are just as meaningful. We just did not know. We still respect them as well. But for many people have had a close connective identity with on a broad scale, there's going to be a lot of people saying, hey man, I'm shocked, I'm sad, I grew up on him, I grew up on her, I grew up on them because of their fame, but it doesn't make them better. Let's be clear. Doesn't make them any better. I can guarantee you that right now. But let me see. Haney over everybody. RO, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks so much for tuning in to the show. Absolutely. Haney. Now, that is a... you sure about that? You sure? Now, I love the intensity. I love the enthusiasm. No question about it. But Haney over everybody. Man. Wow. We talking everybody, including Boots, if that fight did happen, including even though Shakur Stevenson. That's interesting. I love the enthusiasm, though. I do. There's footage of Haney training at a running track. Oh yeah. Let me see if I can. Hold on. Wait a minute. That actually goes perfectly. That goes perfect. Where is it? Let me see if I can find it. Because that works perfectly with this whole sentiment. Hold on. Where's it? I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna find that clip. Where's that Devin Haney clip? Hold on. Is this it? Is this what? It's the one that where he's doing hurdles, correct? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I got you. Here we go. Let me pull out the picture and then boom, I'll show it to you. Because again, this is still a hotly contested fight that many people not only got big opinions on, but also some people feel that it ain't gonna happen. And we are gonna discuss it. But yeah, here's the clip. Here's what he was doing. Training for
See how he's down there?
training for Devin Haney. And now, I don't know what this is helping. I'll say full disclaimer. I don't know what this is going to help. I don't know what this is going to train. Maybe agility. Maybe the ability to you trying to change direction and change levels incredibly quickly. Maybe so. I ain't never seen a boxer do this before. I can't speak on it. I'm not going to say it doesn't work or it does work. I'm going to say a little bit. Yeah. And as you see with the caption above, and he training took the left hook from Norman. So we got a lot of people going through and saying that, hey brother, the brother getting ready to run. He's already at the track, ready to do what he does best, which again we've already covered with Haney running Jose Ramirez. One-time instance, but brother, that has been his MO in the eyes of fans for a very long time. But let me keep on reading. I really hope they don't pull out of this fight because they both need this fight to happen. And when I saw Haney face Norman Jr., Devin did not show any fear, but Norman smells blood now after that. See, and again, as I go through and pull up this thing with Sean Porter, it's here somewhere. I know the clip. I know it's here. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. So older clip, but it's still. I think I believe he still holds this same concern even to this day because I haven't seen anything change. At least going across my timeline, going across my research. But here's what he had to say when it comes to Sean Porter's opinion on Devin Haney and the Haneys as a whole, potentially still finding a way to pull out. Mind you, this is when the whole VADA stipulation was going through, but the concern, even beyond VADA, still bodes a concern.
Camp is comfortable enough to take this fight. And so I'm going to go on record for saying this. I don't think the fight happens. I think that there's going to be something within the Haney camp that prevents this fight from happening. I'm not saying they're ducking Brian Norman Jr., but what I am saying is that this don't make sense to me. It's just something that I don't know how it makes sense for Haney, for the Haney camp. And I think that they're going to maybe realize something and something's gonna happen. They're gonna end up backpedaling out of this.
One thing about the Haney camp, they will call out the world and fight nobody. I've heard them call out Shakira, Tank, T.O., everybody, and then fight nobody.
I think that with this one, I think they might have,
fought Lomachenko, Kambosos, Jojo Linares.
This, I just think that.
So like this, mind you, again, context. This is during the whole situation with VADA and Haney's making those demands. Why are y'all making them try to do testing early? Again, now we know now. Brian Norman went into testing. It's done. He's in it. Great. But those concerns still apply for Sean Porter, and they haven't changed, at least to my knowledge. And Haney can still potentially find a way to pull out of this fight. And like we just said it with Albert Rio, I hope they don't. I really hope they don't. Because if they do now, if they pull out of this fight now, or if they do find a way, one is gonna be more so Bill Haney than Devin. We can say what you want. Devin doesn't do all that stuff. Yes, with the whole thing with Ryan Garcia and the cheating thing, yeah, he went on his campaign throughout the things, justifying all that stuff, justifying the performance and all that. And it was, again, all that situation was a bad look. I get it. Ryan did pop. But how Devin Haney went about all of the afterwards effects, it was not great. I understand. But Devin Haney, has been a person who we haven't questioned his ability or want to fight people. But when it comes to Bill, now we got ourselves a different situation. Now we got ourselves a situation where he's made demands. He's voiced opinions. He's gone through and has stopped stuff from happening. He's gone through and brought up new instances, new issues, new problems, new circumstances, new whatever. To cause stuff to, we got a list. We calling him out. Again, Haney has fought someone. I'm not saying he ain't fought everybody. But, well, I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm not saying that he's ran from anybody. But I am saying what they said on the Sean Porter, on the Porterway podcast, that is true on the side of Bill Haney. And you make a lot of noise a lot of times. And sometimes, yeah, they hit. But other times, y'all don't commit. There have been those instances. And so now, off the backs of this fight with Brian Norman, and Brian Norman agreeing to what Bill Haney wants to do, I'm scared that Haney's going to come up with a potential another caveat. It's going to be another problem that these dudes potentially try to get out. It's going to be another concern, another instance beyond just drug testing. Maybe you got to use a certain type of glove, and if you don't use that as well, we ain't fighting. Maybe ring size. Try to say if you ain't fighting in this type of ring, it ain't happening. Maybe it's caveat with weight. With weight. It's going to be you can't do X, Y, Z. If you do that, we ain't fighting. Again, don't know. Not saying it's going to happen. But I am saying there is a heightened level of concern, especially what they were doing this early on out from that fight with Haney and Norman. With Haney trying to force Norman into, and ultimately Norman capitulating just because he didn't want to lose the fight, to go through and already win that outside battle. Because as we know, everything building up to the fight is part of the fight. Every level of trash talk, every shot and jab thrown at each other verbally, every contract negotiation, every single thing, once it turns into where we're trying to make something happen, now you're trying to get a leg up in any situation. You're trying to get a level of control for the entirety of the fight, even if it's in small instances, even if it's stuff outside the ring. Everything has a level of, I got you. You're in my domain. You doing what I said you wanted to do. We working like I want to work. Even if it's in the little stuff. It is an advantage mentally. It's an advantage that gives you a confidence boost, gives you an edge, gives you a means of control that can potentially translate into the fight. Because now you've gotten everything the way that you want it, just like you think it's going to be inside the ring. And the opposition feels oppressed because, oh my gosh, I had to do this, and this to try to get this fight to happen. Now I'm in the ring, and I'm already fighting under all of these other layers of weight put on by somebody else, put on by my opponent before I even stepped foot into the ring to box. These types of stuff is the stuff that Bill Haney also understands. This is why we do what we do. So that I can be sure I'm always on top. But in this type of situation, that might not be the best thing that you need to go through. Because this, again, all this stuff right now has people saying this. Just like with Sean Porter. This don't make you look like you're trying to get control. This don't make you look like you're trying to get a leg up on the competition. This makes it seem like more so you're trying to put a stopgap in place to make a fight not happen. Again, Bill Haney. Not necessarily Devin Haney. More so Bill. Trying to put something in place to make it so that we don't see a advantage, or we can make a reason to say this fight ain't going to go through. It's a legitimate concern that we have to look at. And now without VADA being an issue now, would it be something else? Could it be something even more potentially petty? Because people were already looking at the situation with the VADA stuff and be like, why are you trying to push this? When you contractually said, hey, it's okay, we start testing in August. And so now that you got this, are you going to try to push something more? Or even more? Or even more? And then say, we too big for you. You ain't on our level. We're still the cash cow. We'll take our money and we'll go elsewhere. We'll fight whoever the world we want to because we are the Haneys. We don't need you. And then fight's over. Mind you, we saw this similar thing, though to maybe not to an egregious degree, but we saw a similar thing with Tyson Fury. Don't forget when Tyson Fury was fighting against Usyk, he put everything in the book to try to make this fight not happen. Exorbitantly unfair cash splits. Negotiations that just made no sense. Being able to go and fight other people before fighting Usyk. Having a leeway and luxury to hold negotiation power to the point that you kept on adding stuff, changing the price, changing the payout, further putting the split, further changing the day, whatever the case may be, all that stuff. So that Usyk wouldn't take the fight. Ultimately, he still did. And there was nowhere to run. But like we've seen these tactics before. And Haney, or at least Bill Haney. And honestly, maybe I had to put Haney in there because Haney's also co-signing with some of the stuff as you saw on Twitter when he was going through and saying, hey, look, what did he say? He said something to Brian Norman over Twitter when Brian Norman agreed. It was something like you do what we say or whatever the case may be. So it's like, so maybe I can't throw him out of this conversation because Haney or Devin Haney is co-signing with everything that Bill Haney is doing. So it's like I'm legitimately scared this fight might not happen. Because for a first fight back since a bad performance against Jose Ramirez, somewhat what Sean Porter's saying is true. It don't make no sense that this would be the fight that you would take right off the bat on a performance that you look like, brother, you couldn't beat most of the division with fighting like that in such a timid fashion. But let me see. Is training, stamina, closeness, agility, and endurance all the reasons why people are afraid to fight Haney? Well, I don't think nobody's afraid to fight Haney. They're annoyed with fighting Haney because it's like they think that performance with Ramirez is going to be the norm. But I don't think anybody's scared to fight Haney. Because I don't think it could get. If anybody would be a fearful fighter, it would be Brian Norman Jr. As I don't want none of that. Because again, I can lose a portion of my life. Literally lose 6 weeks of my life. Again, the eraser, Brian Norman. Because he'll erase a portion of your existence from your own recollection, like he did with Jen Sasaki. Let me see. Ask yourself this question. Why would it be such a problem to implement early body testing for a clean fighter? And see, like I said, this was something I brought up early. People ask, why would people have a problem with you trying to start testing earlier if you're a clean fighter? If you ain't got nothing to hide, why go and be angry? You have to understand, this Devin Haney, Bill Haney, Norman Sr., Norman Jr., all of them knew what the contract was. And the contract was that we are not starting testing until August 1st. Bill Haney said, yes, that is okay. Turkey Al-Sheikh knew the deal and was saying, yeah, that's fine. Everybody knew the game plan of what was what. Point blank, period. Nothing else needed to be said. We're starting testing in August. Bill Haney was okay with it. Devin Haney was okay with it. Both sides were okay with it. Now you come through. Mind you, it's July. Next month is when testing is going to start. And now all of a sudden, you got something to say about, oh, we wanted to start early. Well, if you had wanted that, you should have said it in negotiations. You should have established that beforehand. You can't say something's okay and then you go through and then say, oh, it's not okay no more. You can't do that. That's not right. That is bad practice. It's bad business. And if anything, that's you trying to go through and again, usurp a level of control saying we run this show. But you have to understand that makes you look like you're, especially against somebody who has done testing in the past, and Brian Norman, and to my knowledge, has been clean in every single aspect. It's been, and so like you're not dealing with a fighter who potentially is going to be problematic. Is going to have testing go wrong or has had a history of, hey, we got to watch your back. It ain't like that. It ain't like that. And if anything, with all the drama going on with Victor Conte, him, again, helping make the regulations for VADA testing, also being able to make supplements, also admitted to saying that he has the ability and knows how to usurp VADA testing and sneak by what those testing situations are. Again, if you don't believe me, I will pull up the clip myself to go to give you that to give you that on hand thing. Here it is. Yep, right here.
You know, I've spoken.
Right here. Let me show you. This ain't me saying it. This is him saying it himself when it comes to Victor Conte being able to understand how to go about slipping by the testing of VADA, which again, he helped create the standards and stipulations for what those tests are.
Spoken to some championship fighters you work, and they said, you know, off the record, I've talked with Victor, and he says, you know, we do all we can to help VADA make the test stringent, you know, especially, you know, in helping form it. But he said, Victor at the same time did admit he knows how to beat these tests as good as they are. What percentage of championship level notable fighters, what kind of estimate do you think are beating the system, are getting past VADA, WADA, USADA, any of them?
Well, first of all, let me say that USADA testing is not available to boxing.
Right.
Okay. And the reason is because they have stated publicly that unless they control the testing, including the adjudication 100%, they don't want any boxers. So what I'm telling you is at the moment, the only game in town that with any credibility is VADA. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is. I mean, boxers can decide to be in or not. And VADA is much smarter, and the people they have, the scientific people advising them, have explained that if it's prohibited at all, it enhances performance and likely is dangerous. Therefore, the policy is all prohibited substances tested for at all times. And that's what VADA does. And that's more effective than what USADA does, or more effective. WADA doesn't even test, they just accredit the laboratories. And they might, on a target basis, if they have human intelligence, might do a couple hundred tests a year, but not many. So is it possible to circumvent? Yeah, it is. You know, but the same people that know how to circumvent, like myself, are the same ones that know how to catch you.
Well, Victor.
So like, you see, do you see why this can be a level of concern as to working with somebody that, again, just admitted he knows how to circumvent said test for the very thing that, again, he helped to make. And now you're also trying to say, hey, do the test earlier while having a guy that has the ability to be able to make his fighter be clean no matter what. You're not saying Devin Haney has ever taken anything, but if something was going on, he would be able to go through and come out clean. Unlike with the same security with Brian Norman, due to the fact you're not saying Brian Norman is doing anything either, but he doesn't have anybody in the camp that is like, hey, I know the ins and outs and everything to beat this system. And you're demanding stuff early, when again, you've already agreed to it. This is problematic. This is an issue. This is a concern. And it's like, this instance, again, it's been settled. They're going to do the testing, but this instance makes a potential window that that the Haneys can nitpick ways to attempt to make this fight harder and harder and harder to make happen, up until ultimately we then get a, hey, y'all don't want to do this one specific thing. We're out. And the fight's off. It is entirely possible that that can happen. If it does not happen, great. We get the fight. We get the event. We either see Devin Haney put on the fight of his life, or we see Devin Haney get knocked out clean, or beating the king to come. Whatever the case may be, the result will be the result. Not saying I'm swaying one way or the other. I think Norman will knock out Devin Haney violently, but also I ain't got no skin in the game. If Haney outboxes him and beats him, hey, great, good for him. No issue there. That's a phenomenal win. But this is still a road of conscientious caution. Because, like I said, off the bat, this seems unnecessary. With his team, or who's involved, like with Victor Conte, this becomes interesting, if to say the least. And if we see that more of these types of instances come up of circumstances that, hey, contract says this, but we want this. We agreed to do the X, Y, Z, but now we're doing A, B, C because I said it. And we see the Haney's making the demands for how this fight's going to go all the time, similar to how we saw with Tyson Fury. It's going to be hard to say that it doesn't look like he's looking for a way out. It's going to be hard. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it's concerned that it might be a legitimate thing. I'd say if the Haneys pull out, they might lose his level of fighting. I think he'll be the same fighter, but I think it'll be more so his stock will drop immensely. Now they'll be like, oh, okay. Well, excuse me, let me rephrase it. He won't be the same fighter. You're right. Because if this happens, that means it'll be a clear-cut sign that Haney is not the same Haney that fought Lomachenko. Haney's not the same Haney that even went to war with Jorge Linares. He ain't the same Haney. It ain't the same Haney that beat a Kambosos, who just beat Teofimo Lopez, who had just beaten Lomachenko before to get the titles. It wouldn't be the same. It would be the most clear-cut example that Devin Haney himself had become a man who had changed as a fighter. What he was and what he used to be able to do, boxing-wise, he can't do anymore because something up here is now gone. And against a heavy hitter, he can't mentally take that test the same way anymore. Especially, again, with the way that he fought against Jorge Linares. Flashbacks of what can potentially happen. Now turn that brother into, against power punchers. Maybe this man, I don't want to say freezes, but panics when pressure gets put on him. And that's horrifying. If, again, he did pull out, that would be what my conclusion would be. Okay, yeah, that Ryan Garcia fight did change him. That Ryan Garcia fight shifted him. If he pulls out this fight, it's one of the most clear-cut instances now that fight with Ryan Garcia took something more out of Devin Haney than I thought. If that was the case. Because Bill definitely doesn't feel that he's ready. We already said that Bill Haney shot Devin Haney in the foot when he fought Jose Ramirez, making a game plan to just skirt around the ring, legitimately run, and just get the win outright so you don't get caught and touched at all. Don't risk yourself getting touched with anything because you don't want to get tagged again. Now that fear of I'm going to get tagged again, I'm going to get caught again, I'm going to get hurt again, somebody's going to hit me, something's going to drop me, something's going to rock me. I can't let that happen. I can't let that happen. I can't let you get close. If you remember with that whole meme with Chael Sonnen, I can't let you get close. I got to stay away. I got to stay away. That type of fervent, incessant thinking of what can potentially happen off the backs of what happened with Ryan Garcia. If he pulls out this fight, that will be one of my most clearest indicators that fight has changed how Devin Haney is as a fighter. Because now Brian Norman's too much of a threat to go and say, I can't get touched. Let's go a different way. If again they opt to pull out of this fight for again ridiculous reasons, for petty reasons, like with what Tyson Fury was doing, like with this Vada situation, which again has been resolved. They're going to train under Vada, but still, that would be one of the most clearest indicators that Bill doesn't have any faith in the son, and to a degree, Haney doesn't have any faith in himself. Because they're looking for a way to potentially say, if it ain't all the way what I want to do, this risk is too much for me. And there's no point. You're not worth the time. And you're not worth the risk. Because everything's not the way I said I want it to be. And that's where we got some concern. The thing is, Bill thought Norman wouldn't do it, but they're doing it after their vacation. Not yet. That's what I'm saying. Like they were on vacation. They were out and about. And so it's like and they knew when testing was starting. I just hate the fact that they were forced to have to say, okay, well, we don't want to lose the fight, so we'll just go on and do it. But again, little instances of control. And watch, Bill and Devin are going to try to do more stuff. And more stuff. And more stuff. I guarantee you. I almost, if I'm wrong, great. But I can almost guarantee you that's what's going to happen. I can almost guarantee you there's going to be another instance. It's going to be another problem. It's going to be another issue. Beyond Vada. Beyond drug testing. Beyond all of it. It's going to be something else that comes around that causes people to come through and be like, hey, this fight's in danger. This fight's in trouble. This fight is going to potentially be a no-go. We got to find another co-main event for Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde because that fight's no longer happening. Who's going to be a last-minute replacement for the eraser, Brian Norman Jr.? That's what potentially we can be looking down the barrel of when talking about the threat of this gun popping off in terms of making this fight potentially go up in smoke because one side of the aisle continues to build and compound upon sentiments of ridiculous ask and ridiculous requests in order to get away from making this fight happen. And as much as we can say that Devin Haney has taken on all comers, which is no problem, all big threats he's fought them, at least more than what we've seen from Tank Davis and a lot of the other divisions and a lot of other people in the sport as a whole. For he's got one of the better resumes in all of boxing. He does. Because he's fought names. Good ones. Great ones. Hall of Fame ones. Yes. But that doesn't change the fact that what we're seeing right now is eerily similar to a bygone year's pattern. Like of Tyson Fury. Shoot, we can even throw Floyd Mayweather in that same regard. When stuff wasn't going his way, he was like, hey, we'll stop this fight right now. I'm the show. I'm the money. I'm the attraction. You don't do it the way I want to do it, brother, we'll walk away. You can't afford not to have this money. I will stop everything. And use that power to go through and do what he did. Now, again, he still fought everybody. It's still Floyd Mayweather. Like, I get it. I'm not diminishing what his career was because it was it. But he did use those tactics. Bill is using those same things. But in this situation, it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm just the cash cow A side that you need me, and I deserve to have all this stuff. Knowing that Haney's stock has dropped. Now it feels more so they're looking for any way, hypothetically, to get out of this potential dangerous situation. That, like Sean Porter said, they bit off more than they can chew, hypothetically. Again, it's all speculation. It's all just conversation. But it's built off the backs of the past that we've also crowned as these same types of instances of somebody's trying to avoid the fight by using their status to avoid risk. Tank Davis does it all the time. Tank is doing it right now with Lamont Roach by just refusing to sign pen to paper. And there ain't even nothing that's wrong with that fight. He's just not moving because I don't have to move. Esau Cruz, he didn't rematch him when it was like, hey, he gave you a great fight. Let's run that back down the line. Didn't do it even after Esau Cruz became champion at 140, where he's fought before to the Tank Davis when he knocked out Mario Barrios. You ain't fight him. Wait, this ain't something just out the blue. It's some consistent stuff that's problematic. So I'm scared. I want this fight to happen. I really do. But I'm concerned that it might not. But speaking of Tank also, speaking of Tank, as we go into the next topic of the show, Tank versus Manny Pacquiao. Yeah. This can potentially be real. This can potentially be real. Again, it's a hard switch. Well, actually, that was a pretty good segue, if I do say so myself, talking about Tank. But Tank versus Pacquiao, again, I'm not going to lie. A little bit of a slow day in the news cycle of boxing. I can't lie. But still, this is something that's valid because this is something that has been talked about. We have been seeing rumors, at least I've been seeing rumors, that potentially there is a fight going on, or at least in the works, with Pacquiao versus Tank Davis being a legitimate fight that can take place. Potentially, what's it? Potentially November, December. In light of the fight with Lamont Roach seemingly stagnating and potentially just completely falling by the wayside, again, stupidly, ignorantly, and absolutely, and with no real reason for it not happening. But that's the walking concern. And now Tank, outside of Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, which again is also a fight that people are talking about and discussing potentially what may happen. On top of what's going on with Pacquiao and Barrios and how we all, or at least me, I want to see that rematch happen by the end of this year. I want that. I definitely do because I think Pacquiao can beat him. But within all those fights, Tank and Pacquiao is one that can potentially happen. And it's a real concern, but from the standpoint of if that fight did happen, that opens up a whole new can of worms for Gervonta Davis. It does. It genuinely does. Excuse me. While I adjust my camera so I'm looking clean. Okay, yeah, it's okay, so we good. But yeah, but that fight builds some concern for Tank's career because that fight is a big fight. That fight would be a monumental money-making affair. It would. That fight would sell out whatever stadium it would be in. Pacquiao versus Tank. It would. Though that fight, let's be clear, should not happen right now. Let's be clear about it. It shouldn't happen. I don't want it to happen. But it can happen. And the fact that it can't happen is because of the star power that Pacquiao brings to the table. Even now, Pacquiao is, with one fight, coming back has turned himself into one of the biggest names in the sport thus far. Still, his name over social media is sending ripple effects. And everybody's asking not just about the robbery, but also about, hey, what's next one? He's back for real. I want to see him fight Barrios. I want to see him fight Norman. Everybody's saying all of a sudden, oh, this old brother might just fight some of these other modern names. The buzz is in the air. The excitement of Pac-Man is to some degree back a little bit. And it will be a situation where if that fight did take place, Tank could do it. But the issue is it would have to be Tank at 147. It would be. The Pacquiao is coming back down. He's not coming down. Pacquiao is not coming back down. What? Tank would have to move up if that fight did take place. And again, the whole reason why I'm saying this would happen, or this could be a possibility, is because with the track record of Gervonta Davis that we've been covering on this show, Tank has only been after or been wanting to go after big name, big money type fights. The fight with Jake Paul was potentially still on the table for actually happening after the Lamont Welch fight. It was. Up until about 2 to 3 weeks ago, that fight was still potentially on the table, even in spite of the Lamont Welch fight being what was expected to happen. Now with Jake Paul looking to work with Turkey Al-Sheikh to fight against Anthony Joshua, which again, he will die. He will die. He will absolutely get destroyed if he does indeed take that fight with AJ, which again, by his own mouth said, in terms of by Jake Paul's own words, he was like, yeah, that fight's happening. So again, rest in peace to Jake Paul, because he's getting ready to get a worse treatment than what we saw with Francis Ngannou. I promise you. But that was, up until that happened, it was still Tank and Jake potentially as one of the most likely fights to take place. Now, with Tank not been training, with Tank, again, making bail, with beating his wife for a third time, beating his girl for a third time, going through now and has been completely unprepared. While Lamont Welch has been waiting and training for Tank to sign his side of the deal. And now Lamont Welch saying, yeah, this fight most likely won't happen. It's looking less and less like, yeah, this fight is just going to slip away. Ignorantly slip away. And just not take place at all. Mind you, Tank is still the WBA champion. He still is the WBA champion. The WBA couldn't mandatory that fight and make it happen. They could make that fight the mandatory for Tank. So he has to fight or he loses the belt. They could do that. Let's be clear. That's not in any way, shape, or form out the question. They could help push this fight along if they really wanted to. If they really wanted to. Also, real quick, talking at this camera, it's not working. Okay, there we go. It ain't working. I don't know why it ain't working with me today. But it is still a possibility. It is still real that they could make that happen. But again, as we know with sanctioning bodies, belt commissions, favoritism makes it so that boom, 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 stuff don't always go the way that we think. For obvious reasons. But still, when looking at that fight, if Tank won in the easy road to a big name, to a good payday, where, hey, yeah, for this guy, I can move up and fight. Because to me, he ain't really that big of a threat. And it's an easy big time win. And it easily adds a facade of legacy to my name. So again, it would add some level of validity because again, what Pacquiao did was impressive. But he could take it. He could definitely take it. Also, I see people in the chat. My bad, I'm so sorry. I see people in the chat. Jose Chavez, what's good with you, brother? How you doing? No, wrong button. There we go. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning into the show. So glad that you are here with us on today. Let me see what you have to say on the matter. Pacquiao's pay-per-view was a flop. Was a flop? Really? It was a flop. Also, I see the rest in peace Hulk Hogan. Yep, sadly, he passed away. Rest in peace to him. And we covered that earlier in the show. But still, I don't have the numbers in front of me. So I can't say for certain. Again, I can't speak on that. The financial side. I don't have the numbers in front of me. What I do know is, it seemed like the MGM Grand was sold out to Kingdom Come. And it seemed like most people were tuning into that fight to see if the old brother could actually come back. And it exploded over social media for everybody saying that Pacquiao got robbed. So from an outside perspective, it looked like that was pretty good. It looked like that was pretty all right. It seemed like that fight had a semblance of, hey, this brother with Ben Rodriguez fight on the same card or on the same night with Diego Pacheco fighting, with a litany of other big Isaac Cruz fighting, that was the one, even above Bam versus Tafu, that everybody was waiting to see, because it almost seemed like a fever dream. And so I can't say it was a flop, because again, I don't have the numbers on me, but also just the reaction seemed like it was a resounding success. But that's exactly why we could see Tank fight Pacquiao. But again, Tank had to move up to 147. And if he does move up to 147, now we have to ask, well, what's your excuse? Now we have to ask, what was his excuse? If he does indeed take that, hypothetically, if he does take that fight at 147 against Pacquiao, even without a title, just as a fight, as a big time fight, because he's about big time fights, what would be his excuse then if he moved back down? Or to fight anybody at 140? Because that would further implement the situation of you don't want to actually test yourself against people that are worth challenging you within your vicinity or even slightly above. But again, you'll take on Jake Paul at 190, which was initially which was initially set in stone. And then you'll take on Pacquiao, who again is 46. Looked impressive, absolutely. But we don't see him as on your level from a talent perspective at this point in time in your career, because you're in your prime. He's where he's at. And right now, as a fighter, you are better than him. Handily better than him. There's no disrespect to Pacquiao. All time, Gervonta doesn't belong in the same room. I would say he can't tie Pacquiao's shoes, but he wouldn't be able to, because he wouldn't be in the same room, in the same building. Shoot, in the same city when it comes to greatness and talent. Different situation. But now, you're better than him. And you fighting him, you could beat him. Potentially you could beat him. Both of y'all same height. Pacquiao's still trying to gain some speed back. You're still a phenomenal counterpuncher with some great pop and power. Got a bigger punch than Barrios. You're a better fighter than Barrios. You could beat him if you fought at 147, but you have to fight at 147. Pacquiao ain't coming down to 135. Pacquiao ain't even coming down to 140. Most likely. You have to fight him up there. And then if you do, now, why don't you fight Devin Haney? Why don't you fight Teofimo Lopez? Now why don't you fight Ryan Garcia? See, the questions of why didn't you do this stuff with other people now start coming back up. And off the backs of, again, the groans and moans of what people have had with Tank potentially going to fight Jake Paul. Now not rematching Lamont Roach have added flames or added fuel and oxygen to the fire of disdain that the public is starting to have with Tank Davis. On top of him, again, with the outside stuff going awry, further helping to strip away the luster of his cachet in the eyes of the boxing public. He can't get away with as much as he used to. He's not defended as much as he used to be. He's not lauded in the same way anymore. He's not etched in the minds of boxing fans or even casual fans nearly as much. The reality of what Tank's legacy is, it's starting to become brighter and brighter. And by that I mean it's not gaining a better shine because it's better quality. It is becoming brighter to see what the fraudulent nature of Tank's career has been. From the standpoint of consistent greatness, challenging itself, and moving in a manner that causes his career to have a level of weight. Now it is bright, it is more clear to many people's eyes that Tank lacks most, if not all, of that substance that you thought he had in his career as a pound-for-pound champion, a pound-for-pound talent. The pound-for-pound talent can still be existent. Yes, he was challenged by Lamont Welch, which again has us having raising some eyebrows, but still, it's not horrible. It ain't terrible. Lamont Roach showed up and showed out. Okay, great. We can want to see how you respond. But still, there's a level of rust now that's coming on Tank's name. There's a level of metamorphosis, or rather a devaluing of what Tank is doing. And the movements of how Tank has been perpetuating and curtailing and operating inside of his career now are becoming more apparent and more degraded by the public eye. It's becoming a fixture in, honestly, in fatigue for a lot of people. They're going through and looking at Tank and saying, hey, where's your work? Where's your weight? Where's your substance? Where's your authenticity when it comes to you having a foothold on this face of boxing moniker? Because right now, we're swiping it. If we want to go and using euphemisms of the modern day, we're swiping your face card to see, but does it pass or does it fail? No, I mean, that deals with your looks, but still. Swiping your face card, but it's starting to decline in some places. We're swiping your face card and it's starting to, and where's the button? Where's the button? We're swiping your face card to see if you're really about that life. And right now, we're getting that. We're getting that over and over. On more and more people's bank accounts in reference to their stock in your greatness. When we swipe the legitimacy of what you are as a fighter, all of a sudden we're getting this. That's what we're hearing more often. Card is declining. Fraudulent transaction. Insufficient funds. Those are the terms we're starting to see now amongst your own fans, let alone casuals that just had you as the end-all be-all. And all of a sudden, even they're starting to see, hold on a minute. Wait a second. Something don't sound right. Something don't feel right about this. We've seen what, now they're exposed to Usyk. They got exposed to Inoue. And that might have been the worst thing for Tank. For people to see who Inoue is. And all of a sudden they see what this brother's doing, the accolades and the style in which he fights, and all of a sudden we look at Tank and we say, wait a minute now. This brother's doing this, and he's younger than you, or at the same age, and you, I've rocked with you for a minute, but you ain't. This cat's looking a little bit better right now. We got movers and shakers, and you still stand stagnant. There's a problem. There's an issue. There's a legitimate issue. Tank is just a hype job. I'm not trying to say that that's the case. Because again, I think his talent is indeed great. But here's the issue. The hype is real, but it hasn't been validated. It hasn't been validated. The talent is indeed great, but it hasn't been validated to a place where it is widely accepted, at least not anymore. And now we're saying, you got to prove that what we think you are is indeed what you are. Because we've seen you live up to the hype up until a point. The hype has been real up until a point. For me, it was before Lamont Welch, before a lot of people. Now, that point that it stopped being living up to hype was, in fact, Lamont Welch. It was. Also, Al Booger, good to see you. Hold on, wait. Good to see you. Hey, thanks for tuning into the show. So glad that you're here. Again, if you're here, please leave a like on the stream. And I still want to hear your thoughts and comments on everything. Again, before we were talking about Devin Haney versus Brian Norman. Will we still see Devin Haney and his team pull out of the fight for another potential reason in light of Brian Norman agreeing to do the VADA testing earlier than August 1st, which was the agreed upon contract for both fighters that Bill Haney and Devin Haney were okay with? We touched on that earlier in the show. Now we're switching gears with Tank and Pacquiao being a potential fight that can take place because of the fight with Lamont Welch not happening and because of Jake Paul's what looks to be concrete commitment to fighting Anthony Joshua at heavyweight, which I can't wait to see him get knocked out. But now that fight with Jake Paul is off the table, seemingly, and he's not fighting anybody else in his own division. He's not fighting Floyd Schofield. He ain't fighting Shakur Stevenson. At least right now he ain't, though that's what we want to see happen. That's what Chucky wants to see happen too. We ain't seen that happen yet. He's not fighting Abdullah Mason. He ain't. He ain't even fighting Richardson Hitchens at 140. No T.O., no Ryan, no Devin, no Rowley. At least who looks to be a better fighter now at 140, but still, none of those people, he ain't fighting nobody. And he ain't been training. He's been in and out of jail. Domestic violence, now for the third time. Went through or second or third time. And now the fight with Lamont Welch is genuinely looking like it's gonna be a no-show. It's gonna be done. It's looking like it is legitimately going to be done away with as a event. Though we got the date and everything. Because Tank will not sign. Following the track record of what Tank has been doing for his entire career, being a man only about money, easy big fights, and then go home. Because he doesn't want to chase legacy. Fighting Manny Pacquiao would be one of the smartest decisions he can make. And would tick every box of what would fit the bill for a fight that he would have. Monumental amounts of money. A great build of old versus young star. A legend on your resume. That at this point in their career, again, with him even looking great in his fight with Barrios, at least better than what we all expect, you're still leagues better than him if you're Tank Davis, and you can beat him. Absolutely. But you would have to come out to 147. Almost assuredly. Pacquiao's not moving, it's not coming back down to even a catch weight of 140, I would assume. And so because of that, we're not catch weight, excuse me. He wouldn't come to shoot, which divisions? Super lightweight. That's what it's super lightweight. Super lightweight. Is it super lightweight? 135 is lightweight. Yeah, 135 is lightweight. 140's super light. 147 to water. Okay, yeah, I got it. So yeah, I got it. I had to make sure I was on the right track. But regardless of which, it ticks every box for an easy fight that would be able to win and would bring him a lot of money and a lot of cachet. Pacquiao would be that fight that he would take if everything else goes awry, which is looking like it is because Tank ain't fighting nobody. And his options are few because all the people that he would actually need to fight are threats. And he hasn't fought them. And the Shakur fight, though it needs to happen, ain't happened. So this fight with Pacquiao would make sense as, yeah, it's more than possible. It can be potentially likely because of all of the money and all of the boxes ticked that would fit what Tank's requirement is at this stage in his career for you to fight him. But he would have to move up to 147. And if he does that, now he's in a situation where if you come back down, why bother? Because you can fight Brian Norman Jr. You could fight Devin Haney, who's at 147 now. You could fight Ryan Garcia, who's at 147 now. You could even fight Rolando Romero, who's at 147 now. Or if you move back down to 140, Esau Cruz, you can rematch him now. He's got an interim title. You could fight even Richardson Hitchens. Because you're at 140 and you fought bigger than the fight that you had against Mario Barrios. So it's like you would be stuck in a rock and a hard place because now nobody would want you to come back down to 135 if you move up to 147. Because if you can compete up there, then now, okay, we got some dangerous hitters up here. Shoot, that fight with Boots and Tank would then be, hey, it might not be as unlikely. Boots, I dare say Boots may just come back down to 147. Forget moving up to 154. If you can knock out Tank and get that on your resume, Boots would come back down for that fight. And he's got his own issues with him taking tune-ups and whatnot at 150, at 154, wanting to fight at 152 with Devin Haney when Devin Haney said he could fight at 147. Though with Devin Haney making that claim, brother, you came into fights at 168 in some cases, 175 in one fight. You could have made 154 if you wanted to really take that test. But again, that's a little bit of a different dynamic in debate because Devin Haney just moved up to 147. Boots, you were at 147 leaving, so you could have fought and stayed if you really were going to stay because you already stayed before. Because when you were going to fight Virgil Ortiz, you stayed at 147 because you said you wanted to unify. Now that you wanted to unify, you could have became undisputed. Becoming undisputed at 147 would have required you to get a belt from Devin Haney. So that fight could have happened. Or get a belt from Brian Over Jr. That fight could have happened if you did stay. And right now, you're looking like you're reluctant to even fight at 140, at 154 right now because you want 2 tune-up fights before Virgil Ortiz and others. Yet this point in time, when we were expecting you to go through and automatically be in the mix of the big threats at 154 with Virgil Ortiz, with Boachuk, with the likes of, Sebastian Fundora, who right now just knocked out Tim Tszyu, made him quit on his stool. Hey, brother, we said when you move up, you're going to be right in that mix, and we expect you to go out there undisputed because you said that's what you wanted to do. And now there's some hesitancy. There's some concern. There's a level of concern. There's a level of unease now I got with that whole situation, but still, different conversation. The whole thing is, going back to Tank, if he does take this fight, would put him in a situation where he would then be he would then be asked, why not fight these other people since you are here? And if you move back down, it's going to be seen as you ran because we wanted you to fight these other big names that are indeed on your level, can beat you at a weight class that you have been able to fight at before, at least at 140. And if you can move up to fight at 147, you can definitely fight Devin Haney. If you can move to fight at 147 against Pacquiao, you can definitely fight Teofimo Lopez, who's also at 147. You can definitely rematch Ryan Garcia at this weight class. Especially out the backs of Ryan Garcia getting beat by Rolly Romero. People still want to see that rematch. You could do it. You could. And so hold on. Let me stop. We got people in the chat right now. Mule, what's going on with you, brother? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show. So glad that you're here with us on today. Tank is 30 and never taken real risks since Pedraza when he was 22. Absolutely. Well, outside of Barrios, that was a real threat for Barrios being as tall as he was at 140. Hey, we'll give him that. We will. We'll give respect to that. Since that, however, it's been a downhill slope. Frank Martin was a good win, but then after Frank Martin, it was supposed to be big fights, 4 titles against the best in the division. Not surprise draws against Lamont Roach, who again, we respect Lamont Roach's talent, but Lamont Roach coming up from 130 was not in any way, shape, or form looked at as a competitive affair that should have happened at all, with how and where we were saying Tank's talent and current status is in the division. That fight should not have happened. Though it turned into a great fight, it should not have happened. Lamont Roach, though he was a champion at 130, did not even show the talent to say, hey, we believe Lamont Roach can really take on Tank. Not saying that Lamont Roach was a bad fighter, but it was widely perceived that there were tiers to this standpoint of who can actually beat and give Tank some trouble. And Lamont Roach, for most people, was not on anybody's radar. Definitely not mine, I will be the first to say. A good surprise ain't a great circumstance because that still meant it was a fight that should not have been competitive on almost all accounts. It was great, but it shouldn't happen. So you're absolutely right. It's been few and far between. And every step up that seems to be, he's pushing his foot on the accelerator. He's getting more involved with, okay, I'm going to chase these big time names. Pedals back. He said he had a hit list of his own. Pedals back. Said he wanted to get on Teofimo Lopez and beat him up. Pedal back. All this stuff he's backpedal. from what he said he was going to do. And it's frustrating. It is so frustrating. Tank isn't a legacy fighter. When you see that? No. Hey, hold on. Wait a minute. I've been saying it. Hold on a second now. Wait. Hold on. Wait a minute. Flag on the plane. Time out. I have been saying that Tank is not a fighter that is about legacy. I've been saying that Tank is a fighter that is nothing but just about money, cash, and easy wins, though legacy will bring him even more money and actually vote him to that spot of being the face of boxing that he says that he is. Legacy will bring on it. But I've been saying that he has no legacy. I've been saying for almost a year that Tank and his legacy is going to be forgotten to history once he retires. I have been saying that. I've been looked at like a fool because of me saying that. Oh, you hating on Tank. You're being too harsh on Tank. You're being too mean to Tank. Why are you let off on him, brother? What? He runs the show. He makes the most money. He brings the cash to the arena. The stars come out to see him. What do you mean he ain't got no legacy? I mean exactly what I say. He doesn't have a legacy. He's going to be forgotten by the time he's retired. I've been saying it. And not because I hate him. Because I'm saying you have the potential to have all that grandeur and still back it by substance. But you won't, because his own pride won't let him test people or test himself against people that can show you just how really good you are. Even off the backs with Lamont Roach, he still hasn't signed that fight. And we know that fight right now is the most important fight in Tank's career. That fight right now with Lamont Roach is the most important fight in Tank's career. It's the most important fight in Tank's career. That fight with Roach is literal make or break for Tank on whether or not this grandeur that he's garnered for himself stays consistent. Because if he does lose, all of a sudden the facade drops. It breaks. It goes awry. It completely washes away everything that Gervonta Davis is as a fighter. If he loses, all of a sudden the whatchamacallit? What was it called with Naruto? Dang it, hold on, wait, let me see. Alex Rucker, hey brother, thanks for helping me out. Thanks for being here. Brother, you came in right on time. Alex, real quick, good to see you, glad you're here. Brother, help me out. What was the thing that Naruto, I'm an anime fan. What was the thing that Naruto and the whole of the ninja, not just the Leaf Village, but the entirety of the ninja world got put under when Madara was fighting him? Was it the infinite Tsukuyomi? Where everybody got put into like a plant pod and everybody had a dream of their most of the best version of what their life is? It was. I think it was. I know it was a genjutsu. Was it infinite Tsukuyomi? Like the big eye in the sky. Like Madara looked at the moon, and the moon turned into the renegade. And everybody got it. Yeah. So, okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hey, brother, see, this is why I'm glad that you're here. You showed up right when I needed you, because I was trying to think of it, and I couldn't think of it. Thank you so much. But yes, it goes. But that's the thing. And again, for those of you who don't know, I'm a big anime fan. Let me clue you in. Hopefully this won't be a spoiler if you ain't seen Naruto. If you haven't, it's a great show. Watch it on Hulu. Phenomenal. Watch it on Netflix. Incredible. Love it. I would do Netflix because it's without ads. Whole other thing. Regardless of which. Goes through. Essentially, Tsukuyomi is the ability to put somebody in a visual trap. You constantly you live out your own fantasy, or you repeat the same instance over and over and over, going through, and you're just stuck there. You're not moving, but you feel like you're living life, and and they use that, blind you, and then boom, you're dead, but you're dying in a dream of your own concoction. Infinite Tsukuyomi is the entire globe. is put into one big sleep, essentially, a trance, hypnosis, whatever the word you want to call it, where they're all living out their best dream and fantasy of whatever life they want, whatever desires they have of what life needs to be for them. They live it out in endless sleep. That's what it is. That's what Tank has most of the boxing fan base under. An infinite Tsukuyomi. A world of dreams where it is him on top without needing to do any work. There's nothing actually there with Tank Davis, but everybody sees that Tank's got something going on. Was wondering how this is going to tie up. Now, see, hey, look, hey, I'm good at what I do. Okay, Alex, I told you, I ain't saying this for nothing. I'm tying it together. This is the bow. That infinite Tsukuyomi, just like in Naruto, is the same thing Tank has done with the entirety of the boxing public. Been put in a dream of a reality that ain't real. And there ain't many people that have woken up from that. And even to this day, they're still thinking of that. But all of a sudden, we're getting some people that are starting to break out of that, of that genjutsu, of that visual trap. And they're starting to see the reality of what's going on. They're starting to witness and understand that what it's in. Tank ain't really what we've been saying he is. He ain't. He can fight, no question about it. But is his talent really at that level? Or are we just saying it's at that level? Because it looks good, but it ain't really like that. And he's a bigger beast than we're giving him. He's a smaller beast, than we're giving him credit for. Because all of a sudden, now that we're out of that trance, we're starting to wake up. We're starting to get back to reality. We are in a life where we're amongst the living of what's actually going on. We're out of, again, for our music fans, virtual insanity. We out of that. We out of virtual insanity. And we going back in and we sliding forward. And all of a sudden we're seeing, wait a minute. Hey, brother. Tank, brother, you ain't moving this furniture on your own. Tank, you ain't just gliding across the floor. It's a trick. It's a trap. It's a facade, an illusion, a delusion. And Lamont Roach was a big part in breaking that visual trap, breaking that Tsukuyomi, breaking that delusion. And now, in reality, he got to fight, but he's not fighting because there's still enough people that are looking at him and are still stuck in that genjutsu. They're still stuck in that Tsukuyomi. They're still stuck in that visual delusion. That Tank is still all the way up here from an untouchable standpoint. But it ain't what it needs to be. It ain't. And I'm telling you, if he gets an O on his resume officially, brother, it's going to be such a catastrophic night for a lot of people. It's going to be such a rude awakening. Y'all thought that Errol Spence getting beat up was bad. Y'all thought Spence getting knocked out was horrible. My gosh. Brother, you let Tank lose clean, legitimately, with all the stuff that we've been saying, that's been said about Tank and his talent and his ability and his threshold of greatness. Brother, people will go insane. People were going, they were going insane. Let me see, shout out to the Jameer Kwan. Okay, I'm glad somebody caught it. I'm glad somebody. I'm glad somebody called. See, I wanted to use it as a sound on my soundboard. Only issue is I don't know if I can use a segment of that as a rights to this thing. And I ain't got the money to pay off no copyright claims right now. So hey, brother, we're gonna go clean. We gonna say, hopefully somebody catches it. Al Booger, I'm so glad that you did. But like all of this, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but like it needs to be understood for a lot of people. This fight with Pac-Man can happen. It may just legitimately happen because of the fact that Tank, it fits every box that Tank has to get an easy, dominant, but still just big or just good enough name. Just big enough name. In terms of what Pacquiao is as a legend, is a legend. But the balancing act of talent and name fit just enough to give him a sense of keeping up that delusion. Because if he beat Pac, then, you beat a Hall of Famer, you beat a legend. You beat one of the 10 greatest boxers in boxing history, regardless of division. That's impressive. That's what a lot of people are going to be able to say. But in reality, Pac-Man at this stage, again, can be Barrios, but can't be really anybody else. At least in my estimation. Unless all of a sudden he shows up and gets better every next fight. Now we got a different conversation. But still, at this point in time, that ain't the case. And you beating him will bring you money, even bring you a lot of, oh my gosh, you beat a legend. But that's enough to keep that Tsukuyomi thriving. Keep that Genjutsu still powerful. Keep that delusion existing. Because it satisfies what the fans want just enough. Because they haven't either been told anything different or they've been so blinded that they're too deep in to be able to accept the criticism of you can like who you like, you can love Tank, but you can't deny that this brother's leaving something to be aspired to. If you accept that, you will force Tank to have to prove himself in reality. And that's great, because that's even better. Why enjoy a dream when you can live life? When you can live that life, that dream as reality. When that can be real instead of just, he can. He'll beat XYZ. He'll beat Tank, or he'll beat Shakur. He'll beat Lamont. He'll beat Mason. He'll beat Schofield. He'll beat T.O. He'll beat Ryan again. He'll beat Isak Cruz again. Shoot, he'll beat Brian Norman Jr. Not just throwing out names. You do all that. Why live in just the what-if world when you got reality potentially right there for you and you can force that reality with your money and with your voice? You talk enough, you can get that fight made. You talk enough, you can get mandatories and belt commissions to force that fight to happen. You talk enough, you can force Tank to have to be put in a situation where, hey, brother, some dangerous fighter, by popular demand, gets made a mandatory fight for an opponent or for you. If you don't take this fight, you relinquish the belt and you show that you're scared. Y'all can push Tank in the corner. We keep saying that Tank is somebody you can't back up. You don't want to be. You don't want to put Tank in. You can't put Tank in the corner. He's too strong. He's too powerful in terms of from the boxing sense. Do you not understand that as fans you can do that? But we just had. In fact, let me show you what's going on. By the power of the voice of the people. By the power of the voice of the public. By you all's noise. By you all's claim. Y'all have already changed the dynamic of what's going on in boxing as a whole. Y'all have already shifted what's going to be going on for what needs to happen next in the world of boxing. You already, and right, I'll pull it up for you right now. Because of you all's voice, this fight got made mandatory. The WBO, and let me blow it up for you more. We were just talking that we hope Joseph Parker gets his shot at a title like he deserves because he won it by beating Wilder and beating Big Bang Jang, getting up from 2 knockdowns, knocking out Martin Bukola, getting a level of consistency and great wins back to back to back. He deserves his shot finally. Don't do what happened to Dillian White to happen to him. That's what we were saying. The polls for the zone said it. Overwhelmingly, the public after that fight kept on talking about it. Now look at what happened. Look at this. WBO officially ordered Alexander Usyk to defend his ring and undisputed title. So essentially every belt Usyk got to face, or Usyk has, he's got to put it on the line against Joseph Parker, who's been deserving of a shot and who hadn't gotten it for a second. Looked like it might not happen. And he, because of our voice, we helped make this possible. We helped make this fashionable. We helped make this, there's a line that's got to be crossed now for whether or not we see this challenge taken or not. There is a clear, ordered path because of what we said. It's the truth. And now, again, with all that being said, Turkey Al Sheik and the Ring Magazine say they're not interested in making that fight. Guess what? That's perfectly fine. We don't care about who puts on the fight. We just needed to know that this fight was in the works, that it was officially made, that there had to be an attempt to make this fight happen. They still got 30 days, no matter what promotion, no matter what promoter, no matter who puts that fight under their umbrella. The fight still got to be talked about and negotiated, that they both agree to fight each other. Forced. And if not, potentially, we see Usyk get stripped. Hypothetically, not saying it's going to happen, not saying he's going to avoid the competition, because this is Usyk we're talking about. This is the 11th greatest heavyweight in history. His brother who has cleaned out the division and cleaned out the heavyweight division in such a dominant fashion that it's turned the whole sport up on his head. It's ridiculous. In 8 fights. Insane. So we're not saying he's going to duck. We ain't got no fear with that. What we're saying is the process of what caused that fight to happen was your voice, your wants and desires to make it so that the right man got the right stuff. The right man got the just due. The right brother got their opportunity at what they deserved. And continually, tests got made. Y'all did that. You can back Tank in a corner. You can make Tank back up. You can make Tank have to be forced to do whatever he needs to do. Because y'all are the money. Y'all are the cash cow. Y'all are, you're not just the litmus test. You're not just a fan, but you are the sport. And so it can happen. It really can happen. And so, let me see. A lot of folks are going to hang up whenever Tank loses. Get 90 there. Yeah, brother. A lot of folks are going to, I guarantee you, because of what Tank has done, there's going to be a lot of folks that maybe stop watching boxing. There's going to be a lot of folks that stop watching boxing. There's going to be a slew of people that all of a sudden say, you know what, I'm done. I can't take this. No. And don't let, mind you, with how he's talked about with pride in his ability to say, my pride can't take losing. I can't take losing at all. But if he loses outright, that, again, could be it. That could be it. One loss, he's done. He said he extended, he doesn't want to retire after the Lamont vote to draw. That's fine. One loss from Tank could be it. That could be all it needs, and Tank's all of a sudden, yeah, I'm done. I'm retired. I'm over. I'm over the sport. I'm over the training. I'm over the drama. I'm over all of that. Let me pack my bags and go. I ain't got nothing else to do. I'm done. That's what that legitimately can happen. That can happen at the drop of a hat. And that wouldn't be anywhere out of Tank's own volition. Out of Tank's own mind. It wouldn't. That would be one of the biggest things of a mass exodus for a lot of fans. It would be stupid for them to leave. but it would be. Just like with Ali, when he retired, there's a bunch of old folks I talked to that were like, yeah, I used to watch boxing, but once Ali left, I don't want to watch it no more. In fact, hold on. Let's go to the championship rounds real quick. We at what? Almost 2 hour mark. It might be a little bit lighter in the show because it's not as heavily news driven for this show with news and what's going on unless something else breaks. Now, I don't know. It's kind of, it's a little bit of that. So we can go into the championship rounds right now as we continue this topic. And again, right now it's championship rounds. Whatever you all want to discuss and talk about, we can talk about. Whatever you want to do and see and absolutely discuss, we can discuss it absolutely. Like with Al Booger, the GOAT is this weekend. Yep, Clarissa Shields fights this weekend. Now, we expect her against, I believe she's defending her heavyweight championship of the world. I expect it to be another knockout. She, with the entirety of the women's division beyond just the heavyweight division, she is indeed clearly far and away the best women's boxer in the world. Clearly. From a talent perspective and from how she has gone about her accolades. Now she's in talk to potentially fighting Layla Ali down the line. Now, Layla Ali's 46, 47 years old. Ain't fought since, what, the early 2000s? I think, I hope that fight don't happen. Because maybe prime Ali versus Clarissa, I would love to see that. But now, I don't know. I don't think so. Let me see. I've never seen Lonnie Daniels, but she doesn't look very good from a few highlights. Again, she's not bad. She ain't bad. But it's just Clarissa Shields. It just has a talent as a technical boxer. It's just leagues better, faster, stronger in my opinion, better footwork, has a better jab, and when it comes to if it turns to an inside fight, most likely she's gonna do away with them. And so let me see. BB, stop the cap. Katie Taylor far superior. See, no, again, I'm not disrespecting Katie Taylor. Like Katie Taylor, Serrano are also in the mix of some of the greatest women's boxers we've ever seen. Don't make it seem like I'm trying to go through and make it look like they're just obsolete. They're not. But also in watching their careers, and specifically watching them fight against each other, it's great, don't get me wrong. But there are things that Clarissa Shields can do that Katie Taylor can't. Or outside of just being bigger physically. Katie Taylor is a phenomenal boxer. It's phenomenal. Insane motor. Can throw out and go to war with the best of them. Has great footwork. Has the ability to, again, fight on the outside. Is fast and it's smart. Can make herself hard to catch. And again, if she needs to dig deep, she can dig deep. No question about it. Absolutely. But at the same time, again, my humble opinion, I feel that Clarissa Shields over all of the division, including the likes of Bumgarner, Savannah Marshall, Green, who just got a title and beating Savannah Marshall, which, again, props to her, finally getting a title after over 20 years of being in the sport. Oh, that was one of the best feel-good moments of the night. Her finally getting that long, elusive title. But I am not trying to dismiss all of their talent. But Clarissa is indeed called the GOAT beyond just her resume, which again is extensive and great, just like with Katie Taylor. But it is the grandeur of her talent and the wide sweeping, just every facet of her in women's boxing is leagues above what anybody else brings to the table. I mean anybody. I don't care who you bring up. It is a clear separation and line of demarcation at where Clarissa Shields is and where everybody else is in the world in women's boxing. It is a visual and also career laden fact. And it's not, again, I'm not trying to call them bad. That's not bad at all. Just like I say that with Usyk, Inoue, and Crawford, there's a line of demarcation between them and everybody else. It's the same thing. is Clarissa Shields at this point in time in women's boxing, which again is getting better. Absolutely. See, the whole sport's getting better. I love it. But it's Clarissa Shields at this point who is clear cut, head and shoulders above the rest. And then everybody else. Absolutely. Pound for pound, if Clarissa Shields was put in any weight class and fought against any of these people, she would beat all of them. She would whoop Amanda Serrano. She would whoop Katie Taylor. She would whoop Savannah Marshall. She'd whoop Green. I don't care which weight class or what name. She'd beat them all. Because at this point in time, she's just that much better. It's not disrespect at all. I'm just giving you what we see, what I'm studying, what I am constantly, again, I'm not trying to compare everybody all the time, but like it's real. It's real. And so, let me see, I agree Clarissa really is the GOAT, full stop. And it's like, it's insane. It sounds good when Clarissa fight bums, but like, she ain't fighting bums. Like, she's not fighting bums. She's just beating, again, mind you, women's boxing's a little bit different from the standpoint of notoriety and acclaim. Everybody don't know everybody. Even me. It took me a minute to truly get the depth of, wait a second, what the word is this woman actually doing to be claimed like she is. Because a lot of women's boxers aren't nearly as well known at all. Like I said, it's been a side of the sports world that hasn't really gotten established. Sure, you had your Layla Ali's, you had your Christy Martins that helped put the sport on the map for women's boxing and helped to bolster it. And then you got Alyssa Baumgartner today. You got Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. Absolutely. I'm not saying you ain't got great names. You do. You absolutely do. No question about it. No question about it. But a lot of the women, you don't know who they are. Again, I'm putting myself in that boat as well. I don't know nearly as much as I should know. Because I'm trying to juggle the NBA, NFL when the season starts, boxing all year round, and everything. It's something new almost every week. And so I don't like that it gets lost in the shuffle, but it does at times, more likely than not, get lost in the shuffle. We attempt to make sure that we give it the spotlight it deserves. Absolutely. But even with that caveat of, again, unknown knowledge and still learning knowledge, I'll put myself in that boat too. It is a clear cut for me. Again, for me. You can have your opinion, absolutely. I have no issue with that at all. But for me, it is a clear-cut distinction between who Clarissa Shields is and most of the other women in boxing right now, even with the great Katie Taylor, who, again, has solidified herself as one of the greatest in history. No question, regardless of weight class in women's boxing. Absolutely. I am not disputing that at all. Just like with Amanda Serrano. It was like 43 wins, 30-something KOs. I believe she moved up to fight, unless I got it wrong, she moved up to fight Katie Taylor in a 3-bout war of a trilogy. Though that third bout was she had the complete wrong game plan. Because the complete wrong game plan in that fight with Katie Taylor the third time. Oh my gosh. But in the first 2 fights, she won one of them. She won one of them. Definitively, she won that second one, in my opinion. Absolutely. She should have won that second one. First one, I got to go back and rewatch it, but that was as nip and tuck as you can imagine. As close and competitive as you can think. She went to war. Absolutely, she went to war. But even with all of that established, Clarissa's still just on a different level. She just on a different level. And it's against multiple weight classes. Again, she's also been 2-time undisputed. And she's also, mind you, she was the first 2-time undisputed champion in the 4-belt era in boxing history. It was Crawford who did it second. In a way, who did it third. Usyk who became the 4th. In the 4-belt era, there's only been 4 people to become 2-time undisputed, or to become undisputed in 2 different weight classes. It's only been 4 in the modern day boxing history since the 4-belt era. And Clarissa Shields was the first. She was the first. And then kept on winning. And defending her belt against every single opposition that was there. Now again, also, the pool of talent is not as deep, but it has been better than it's been in the past. And she, even with that, it's so clear for me. It's clear in the way. And like, I can't see anybody else better right now. If Katie Taylor does some work that gives me some credence to say, hey, yeah, she's better, I ain't got no problem with that. Y'all know me on this show. I ain't got no issue being wrong. I ain't got no issue admitting somebody has eclipsed somebody else. I ain't got no issue putting somebody on a pedestal that they deserve. You will not hear an inkling of hate out of me. I don't care. If somebody's better than anyway, then anyway, brother, I say they're better than anyway. I got Usyk pound for pound number 1 above anyway. I got Crawford and anyway tied in all actuality. And I ain't got no shame in that at all. And it's because she liked it. It's because right now, she's it. If somebody comes along that is better, I ain't got no issue saying that they're better. Right now, I just don't see anybody comparable to what Clarissa Shields is as a boxer. Her resume matches Katie Taylor's. It does. If you want to argue one's better than worse, that's fine. It's in the same vicinity. But she is beating people more cleanly, more dominantly, at more weight, in multiple divisions, with the same work rate of destruction and outclassing, to where there's nobody else for her to fight almost, because she's beat everybody. Yeah, she can't. Unless she moves down to where Katie Taylor is and fights her. Which, if she makes that weight, I mean, hey, cool. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I don't know if she can get down that low. With how she's been moving in terms of where she's been fighting for the past couple years, I don't think that's even possible unless Katie Taylor moves up to fight her. I don't think we'll ever get to see them face to face. But if we did, I would assume, because of who I think as a boxer is better, Clarissa Shields would beat her. I would wholeheartedly think so, because she's just a better fighter. If we throw accolades aside, she is a better fighter than Katie Taylor. She's a better fighter than Amanda Serrano. She's a better fighter than every other boxer in the women's division, regardless of division. It ain't common that you get a heavyweight champion that is also genuinely the best in boxing. Pound for pound number 1, and is indeed, as a talent, clear cut above everybody. It ain't common that you get that. Normally, it's you can have a pound for pound heavyweight number 1, but they're not the best boxer in the division. Even now, I got Inoue being a better boxer than Usyk. I got Crawford being a better boxer than Usyk as a talent, but Usyk is pound for pound. But it ain't many times that a heavyweight champ is also the talent-driven best pound for pound, on top of accolades in every category to number 1. Right now, that's Clarissa Shields. For me, that's her. For me, that's her right now. But shoot, we were just talking about something else. Dang it! There was another thing. I was gonna bring up. We were just talking. We transitioned to Tank. Talked about Jamiroquai. Went to Tank losing. Then we talked about phone calls. And then, hold on. Now, this, again, full disclaimer. The pound for pound list is subjective. Let's be clear. We've touched on this before. Pound for pound list is subjective. I feel that Terrence Crawford is right there with Inoue. If I had to pick one, it would be Usyk 1, Inoue 2, Crawford 3. But they're all neck and neck with each other. Now, pound for pound is more than just individual talent. We've talked about that before as well. Consistency, your ability, how soundly you're able to beat the majority of your competition, the accolades that you bring up. And what was the fifth one? There was a fifth one. consistency, accolades, talent, the gap between you and your competition, and who you beat. That's what it was. And who you beat. All of those things help make, help mold what my pound for pound list is. Now, for you, it could be a different thing. For you, it could be completely different. Now, and again, I can respect it. For me, that's my list. Now, it's not laughable to say that Crawford is a better fighter than Usyk. It's not laughable to say that Crawford is potentially pound number one. Even Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman, brother, who is today's essentially Jim Lampley, with an encyclopedic knowledge that goes back to the doggone 1800s. A legitimate prodigy. Now that he's back in the sport. But he's been saying for years that Crawford's the best boxer in the world. Even Usyk said himself that Crawford was the best boxer in the world. In fact, I won't even speak for it. I'll let Usyk say it himself. Because again, you all cannot believe me. That's perfectly fine. But I will let this man speak from his own mouth as to who in the world, in his mind, is the best pound for pound fighter in the world. Here, come take a look.
Who's the best boxer in your opinion right now?
European.
No, world. Best fighter in the world, yeah.
I think it's Terence Crawford.
Many believe it's you. Many believe you're the best fighter.
No, I'm not the best fighter of the world. It's Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford, number one, yeah?
Yeah.
Who's the...
Again, hey, he was quick with that response. This ain't me saying this either. Again, this is his opinion. This is the man who most people have him. He's at the top. And this wasn't even him just being humble and saying like, I ain't really all that. No, he knows he's all that. He ain't gonna brag about it, but he knows he's like that. He knows he's one of them ones in this boxing world. And he was quick to say, quick to say that Crawford's better. And so it's like, I'm not trying to go and make something out of it or make something too grandiose out of it. This is a legitimate conversation. Crawford being better than Usyk is not too far-fetched from a talent perspective. Again, what they are able to do. We can talk about accolades and beyond. Compare Crawford going up from 135, 140, 147, 154, 168, now potentially beating Canelo. If he beats Canelo, that's going to shut all that talk up. If he does, I'm saying he will. But like that's not a conversation that is just laughable, because we're talking about, we have called Crawford on a consistent basis one of the people who can fight in the Four Kings era with Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, and Durant. He could at 145 and 147. Shoot, I dare say 160. I dare say 160 because he is built like that. He's the best switch hitter in boxing since Marvelous Marvin Hagler. He's the best switch hitter in boxing that I've seen since Hagler. If you can throw another name in the mix, I would love to learn. Absolutely. But of all the people that can fight both Southpaw and Orthodox, that have been great, that have been like, oh, you can't, they can switch to whatever your weakness is, and they are just as strong in both forms. He's one of them. He's shown that he's got insane power and has truly been pound for pound one of the strongest boxers in the world today. His IQ has been legitimately incredible. He has outthought people at the drop of a hat. He was losing his entire fight to Sean Porter up until he said, okay, up until he got confirmation, oh, I'm losing this fight. He couldn't believe he was down. Literally in that one round, he completely wiped out whatever Sean Porter did and knocked him out. Stopped. Had his father stop the fight because his father threw in the towel and said, oh, no, you're done. No, there's no way you can beat him. That one round, Just like that. Yeah, we're not going to bring it, oh, he's been knocked down, he's been hurt. Every great has been knocked down, hurt, or some way, shape, or form, been put in trouble. That's not an indictment against him. Usyk got knocked down to the body by Artur Beterbiev when they fought at in the what was it, Olympic trials? I think or it was either Olympic trials or amateurs. One of the two. They fought against each other. Usyk and Artur Beterbiev fought against each other. It was either in the amateurs or in the Olympic trials, somewhere along them lines. One was wearing red, one was wearing blue, headgear and all. And Usyk got dropped to the body. I thought he got dropped to the body again by Dubois. He's been hurt to the body multiple times. He's been put in trouble. He has. We don't hold that against him. David Benavidez has been knocked down. We don't hold that against him. Crawford's been knocked down. We shouldn't hold that against him. Anyway's been knocked down twice. And by the way, we definitely don't hold that against him. Floyd's been rocked. We don't hold that against him. Pacquiao's been knocked out clean. We don't hold that against him. It happens. It absolutely happens. That's not an indictment against him. It is the response and the overwhelming level of talent that you show for the entirety of the fight. That's what makes a great fighter. And that's what Crawford is. He deserves to be in that conversation. Wherever you rank him, I don't think it should be debatable that he is a top 3 fighter in the world. If you have Usyk above him, I am not mad. Usyk has Crawford above him. I'm not mad at that. If you got Inoue below Crawford, perfectly fine with me. Because, again, it's a tight-knit race. It's a tight-knit race. But we are not going to sit here and completely devalue what we know as fact that is not debatable, which is where Crawford's talent is. If we don't think he's better than Usyk, that's fine. But you can't say the gap is so far gone that it's laughable. You can't. I feel that Crawford is a better fighter than Usyk. I feel that he's more well-rounded. I feel that he has a better 6th gear. Though, again, Usyk's 6th gear is incredible. I have seen Crawford go up against people and completely wash them. Great fighters. And such a eye-opening type of display on such a wider scale also, because he's fought longer. I think he's older. Is he older? He's either older or as old as Usyk, which is insane to think about. But like if everything is either better or just as good as what Usyk brings to the table, in my eyes. Like I said, it's not a big gap. It's not a big gap at all. Again, from a talent perspective, I have Inoue above all of them. From a talent perspective, Inoue is a better boxer than Crawford and is a better boxer than Usyk as a fighter. Resume-wise, also stacks up to anybody that we have in boxing today. Absolutely. With a name resume that also matches up with everybody. So we're looking at a situation where all 3 people got stuff that it's like, brother, we're all right here. We're all right here. It's a tight-knit race of who's above who, if you got anybody above anybody. But don't say it's laughable, because we know for real, it's certain. The way that he turned up on Porter, yeah, it was eye-opening. It was eye-opening. It was ridiculous. It was stupid. This buddy it looked like he was going to get beat. I was saying he was going to lose that fight. I was saying, oh my gosh, Sean Porter's going to beat Crawford. I was saying, Crawford, if you lose round 7, there's no way you're coming back and winning this. Sean Porter almost won every round of that fight. Close. It was close, don't get me wrong. But he won almost every round of that fight. Yes, he did. Up until it was just over. I don't think I had ever seen a 1-round turnaround that volatile. In terms of, I'm not talking about one shot changes the night and then up. Well, he got him hurt. Oh, we got him out of there. I am talking about a momentum shift I felt in my room when Crawford got up off his stool of going and saying, okay, I need to go and be better than him. Now I'm better than him. I had never seen that before. I had never seen that before from anybody I had seen. That was the first, in my boxing life, that was the first time I ever saw somebody just completely come out of their corner and nullify every single round we just saw him lose. And there wasn't any question. Oh, he got lucky. There was no conversation of, that wouldn't happen again. It wasn't like a Fabio Wardley situation. This man went and so dominantly outboxed, outclassed, and outbeat Sean Porter in one round, less than 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes. He did that to Sean Porter. I couldn't believe it. I walked away and said, oh my gosh, Crawford is better than him. Crawford made everything that Sean Porter did obsolete in less than 2 minutes. I'd never seen that before. That was one of the most insane things I had ever seen in my boxing career. Watching a sport, I'd never seen it. That's different. That's different. That's genuinely different. And we know Sean Porter's a dog. You see the work it took for Spence to beat him? You see the work it took for Spence to beat that brother? In 12 rounds, and this buddy did it in 7? And he did it from like 0 to 100. As if he was never down at all. It was one of the most insane things I've ever. I'm laughing now just thinking about that. It was insane. It was insane. I've never seen a fighter turn up like that. And I mean, I am talking about. I have gone back and watched the likes of Ali, watched the likes of Tyson, watched the likes of Joe Louis. I have been looking through boxing history, trying to learn, and that was the first time I had ever witnessed that. Unless I might be missing a fight. Unless I might be just missing a fight. It's either the first time or it's one of the few times I had ever seen that happen. Maybe Sugar versus Hitman 1, but even then, even that wasn't the same. Even that fight wasn't the same. Even that fight was a slower turnaround into Leonard, into that fight going in a different direction. It was a slower turnaround than that. Like I said, it was 2 minutes. And this man made it that nobody was questioning. He got lucky winning. It was 2 minutes and it was like, yep, Crawford's better. We should have known. It was never a doubt. That's how people were talking. I was never a doubt. Not because, they were just fanboying over Crawford. Because he went and so completely decimated Porter. From losing every round, it was like, was he really trying up until round 7? Was he really trying up until round 7 or 9? Whatever round it was. He wasn't really going up until he said, okay, it's time to go. I had never seen that. That was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever witnessed in my life. My God, let me see. Jean-Luc, do you think, in a way, is a better boxer than Usyk? I do. And my gosh, we have had people commenting, I am so sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's called being humble. Something America. Like, no, hold on. Wait a minute. Hey, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. Put the brakes in. Don't let the stigma that to a degree, yes, you're right. We have been very much cocky. But again, we can say that for places around the world as well. It's a bad stereotype you can put on America. I'm not saying it isn't true all the time. That's a bad stereotype that you have about that. All of us ain't like that. A lot of us actually ain't like that. A lot of us ain't. A good portion ain't. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. More than I wish I would accept, or more than I wish was reality. Definitely ain't. And we got a lot of people that go around thinking that they own the world just because they from the States. That's a problem. Oh, you right about that. No question. But that ain't all of us. That definitely is not all of us. I promise you that. But let me keep on reading to go through. There was another point. There was something else I had said earlier that I needed to discuss, and I can't think of what it was, because it was one more thing involving Gervonta Davis. It was one more from an earlier conversation. What was it? What was it? Because it was important. It was really important. That's what I remember now. It was this thing. And again, before we even continue, this is still the championship rounds. You all can still drive the conversation. Please let your voice be heard and let the show go on with you all being at the cusp of being able to voice your opinions, your thoughts, your conversations, and your debates that you want to have on the show. I want to hear from you. I want to hear for fights upcoming, for potential takes that you want my opinions on, for potential stuff down the line, even beyond boxing, whether it's with movies, whether it's with video games, whatever the case may be. Hey, and shoot, if y'all want to fund my gaming habit, hey, we can make it happen. All you gotta do is go into the Cash App and PayPal. And links in the description to help to support the show. So of course we keep the show first and make it so that we can have, the lights, the background, all that stuff, make this show better, bigger, and brighter for you all, because that's what you all deserve. But also, hey, it's what I make a living. I would love to splurge once in a while, don't you? So hey, would help me out a ton if you want to feed my gaming addiction. I'm just funny. I'm not addicted. I do love video games though, but I'm not addicted. But I will say I can quickly become addicted. Because, brother, I got a lot of games I need to play, especially with GTA 6 coming out. I think is it this year or 2 years from now? I can't remember when. I think College Football 26 is now out. That everybody is saying pretty good reviews, not better than the last one. And I think we got a good chunk of a couple of really good games coming out this year. At least the end of this year, if not early next year, that I'm excited about. And hopefully we get that Wolverine game that we've been waiting for Insomniac and PlayStation to finally put out. Though it got leaked, I hope it ain't in the gutter. Oh, I hope it ain't in the gutter. Because if you played X-Men Origins in the past, if they can live up to that hype, they can live up to that level of talent, gore, healing factor and all, visual, violence. It was beautiful. If they do again, make that Wolverine game like they teased 3 years ago, and they keep that same level of really visceral Wolverine, it can be wonderful. It can be absolutely wonderful, absolutely. And so I need that game. Let me see. Hold on. Let me real quick type this out. 1 second. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm getting back to your chats. I'm just trying to handle some stuff. Okay. All right. We good. We A-okay. All right. Let me keep on reading and let me hear from you all right now. Listen, GTA 6 on the way. I'm excited for it. I need it. We gonna need. Hey, you gonna have to probably. I'm hearing it's gonna be $100 base. I'm hearing base game might be $100. Again, I repeat, the base game, no pre-order, might be 100 bones. Hypothetically, could go as low as 90. Now, if it goes 70, even 80, a blessing that we all will take. The Lord knows Nintendo already doing $80 games. But brother, if they go 100, it's who am I kidding? People still gonna buy. Who am I kidding? People still buy that game regardless of it. Let me see. No pound for pound, but straight boxing skill. You think in a way better? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, take away accolades. Take away the take away accolades. Take away the historical context. Take away the careers that they've had in terms of like all the stuff. Strictly, if we looking at them as a boxer basis, I have been, for the longest time, felt that Inoue is better than Usyk. I have felt that Inoue is a better boxer than anybody else in the sport from a talent perspective. No, nothing else taken into account. Nothing. Strictly boxing skill and ability. And what you bring to the table. Inoue's better. Because I have seen Inoue fight and win in about 4 different styles right now against some of the best in his division, against some of the best in his era. And I have seen Inoue in every conceivable facet of situation outclass his opponent to such a great degree, and doing it in ways that, again, he beat them at their own game. He beat them with his own style. He beat them with a completely different style. He beat them on the outside. He beat them on the inside. He beat them with countering. He beat them with angles. He beat them with stamina. He beat them with aggression. He beat them with timing or precision. And I have seen the same look on every one of their opponents that he's faced. More than just this man is better. There's nothing I can do against him. Usyk, the talent is insane. The footwork is incredible. He's gotten a great level of power, especially now that he's at heavyweight. My gosh, he's hitting like a hitter. He's hitting like a puncher. Ain't no moving back down. There's no moving back down to cruiserweight. This brother, he's a full-fledged heavyweight. And he cracking like it too. He cracking like it, absolutely. But everything that I see Usyk being great at, I have watched Inoue be better than him at that even. It sounds insane to say, I know. And I'm not trying, again, I am not trying to call Usyk just, you just ain't on the level. No, he's on that level. Absolutely. But how do we say this? We talk about Jaron Boots Ennis being the modern day equivalent to Roy Jones Jr. He just does stuff that nobody else can do. And it's so much of a outclassing nature. He says, why about? Roy had that same, when Roy was at his best, Roy had that same effect. There was nobody in boxing, but as a boxer, there was nobody better than him. There was, strictly from a talent perspective, there wasn't anybody better than him. It was widely accepted and recognized. And again, I've made a video about this. The same way that Roy Jones Jr. was as great as he was, and he understood the fundamentals of boxing, so he was able to break all the rules. But his style was athleticism driven, backed by fundamental understanding. Again, because he understood fundamentals, he could do what he did in the ring with his athleticism and maximize it like nobody else we've seen. In a way, is a different side of that same coin. His athleticism is insane. Absolutely. But his fighting style is driven by fundamental soundness first, and then backed by the athleticism that he brings to the table. Now, what that creates is a stylistic nature that is destructive, but also sound in nearly every regard. Again, he's been knocked down. I understand. He's been hurt. I understand. I'm not, again, like we said before, we're not using those as means to diminish and say, you ain't all that. But with everything that's happened in his career, I've had the same sentiment with him. He has everything and lacks nothing. There's no thing that he doesn't lack. There's no game plan that is not either, there's no facet of his game that is not either top 3 or the best in the world in all of boxing. Punching power. Pound for pound, he's one of the best punchers in the world. Footwork. Him, or Inoue, Bam, Shakur, Usyk, Crawford. If you want to have that route for who's got some of the best footwork in the game. Top 5 to top 3, depending on who you ask. Durability, he's shown that he can take a punch, and he's shown that he got some of the best heart by getting up from shots that normally people wouldn't get up from. IQ, he never gets hit with this. In a fight, once he gets caught with something, he never got caught with it again. Once the left hook landed for Neary, never got caught with that left hook for the rest of the fight. Once the left hook landed for Cardenas, he never got caught with that punch for the fight. The punch that broke his orbital bone against Nonito Donaire, he never got caught with that shot again. And when he rematched him, he beat him in 2 rounds. In what was supposed to be a fight that should have been incredibly close. Marlon Tapales, he went to war with him. He beat him at his own game and destroyed him. He's been able to outmuscle people that were stronger than him. He's been able to be faster than who was seen as one of the fastest pound fighters in the world in Stephen Fulton. He's had shorter reach, but has been able to box from the outside better than most people that we see who are indeed outboxers in the boxing world today. He's been able to think before stuff happens and react as if he is a fortune teller. It's so much of a consistent and dense. It's a dense yet vast skill set that I kid you not. The only weakness with this game is that he wants to fight like the Mexican warriors that he studied growing up. Julio Cesar Chavez, Salvador Sanchez, Juan Manuel Marquez. He wants to fight like them because that's what his father trained him to be, that warrior mentality. If he wanted to not take punishment and still win, he could do just that. He could fight like Shakur Stevenson and not get hit. He could. He absolutely could. I've seen him do it. But because he wants to be in a war, because of his makeup, he puts himself at risk at times that I'm like, you didn't need to do that. But he did it because it's him. That's literally the only gripe I've had with him. That's the only thing I have a problem with. If I have any problem with anyway, is the fact that he's so much of wanting to go for the kill. He'll put himself in harm's way because of it. Because he's about ending the show like he's seen the greats do of the past. You saw that fight with Cardenas, but he had, with the way that them left hooks were coming out like lightning. But he could have boxed on the outside, kept on baiting the shot or the left hook from Cardenas, and then just landed the jab to the body or to the head and kept his distance and made him keep on wasting energy. But he kept on putting his neck right in the fire and skinning the cat when it came to getting away from these hooks. Yet, it wasn't a risk, but he did it. It wasn't a needed risk, but he did it, and it was so great. This man has nothing. I cannot point out one thing that I have a problem with Inoue from a boxing standpoint that he does wrong. I don't. I can't. I just can't. He is the closest thing I've seen to a perfect boxer. If I was going to make a fighter, Inoue would be one of my blueprints. He would. And it's not because I'm not trying to overlaud what he is. I am saying this man has shown a level of perception, reaction, and understanding of the sport that I have not seen on a level like that since some of the greatest of all time. I get that again, this is me. I'm not saying you gotta feel this way. This is me. And I'm talking about amongst the greats, there's even a threshold that he is elevated above. It's not just the greatest of all time from the standpoint of boxing history. Oh, he's just one of the greats. He is. I'm talking about even amongst that GOAT conversation of talents I've witnessed in the sport. He reaches a line of demarcation that there are people under him that I've seen that I'm like, oh shoot, this brother might actually be better than this kid. That same feeling I got with Roy when I watched him of like, this is a once in a legit. I'm not just throwing out the term. This is a legit once in a generation fighter. This is an actual once in a lifetime level type of talent that like most likely won't be replicated because of what he's able to do. I'm serious. He's giving me that type of feeling. And that's not me trying to be disrespectful to Usyk. Usyk's great, absolutely. Like I said, he's 11th all time on my heavyweight ranking list, and he can still move up, no question. But in a way, it's just a different thing. It's almost hard to describe unless you watch them back to back. If you watch them back to back, if you watch an Inoue fight and then you watch an Usyk fight, you will witness greatness on the highest of scales for both of them. But you will see the difference between what each one is as a talent. Not to diminish one or the other, but to give better context as to why some people would hold, like me, Inoue in this level of regard. Because I can describe the speed. I can describe the timing. I can describe the anticipation. I can describe the power. I can describe the footwork. I can describe the 5-step ahead plan. I can describe all that. And I can give the same praise to Usyk because he absolutely is doing that. But at the same time, even with the comparison being understandable and justifiable, there's a difference in execution with both of them. There absolutely is. There's a difference in sharpness. There's a difference in deliberate impact. There is a I said something years ago. I said something years ago that put this perfectly. What was it that I said? There was some phrase I had said way back talking about Inoue that perfectly encapsulated this whole conversation. I can't think of it for life. Doggone, if I can think of it, I'll come back out and say it. But if you go back and look at my older videos, there was a phrase that on the ones I made with Inoue, there was a specific thing I said about Inoue, about what he does that separates him from the rest of the boxing world. In terms of describing how the talent is, putting it into a conceptualized context. I had said some sort of phrase that put it together perfectly. I can't remember, but it's the sound of his punches are different. It's almost robotic, but at the same time, it is a flow state level of ease. Stuff just happens as if he's one with himself, rather than just thinking. It's just do. He can think 5 steps ahead, absolutely, but when he fights, his body just does it. It just clicks. There's no load time between the thought and the execution. It just goes. As great as Usyk is, it's that, but it ain't to the same degree. As precise as Usyk is, in a way, with the volume of punches he's able to throw, is even more accurate. As defensively adept as we've seen Usyk be in his entire career, head movement and all, which is incredible, in a way is indeed better. As crazy as that sounds to be. And it's not because I'm trying to hate. It's because when you compare it 1-to-1, it's almost the only way I can give you context to understand it. Because it's gonna sound like I'm just hating on Usyk. I'm not. But it is a witness to fair when you see what he does versus when you see what Usyk does. Because as clear cut as I was saying that Usyk was the best heavyweight in the world 2 years before he ever fought Tyson Fury, it was even more clear cut earlier on that Inoue was the best in his division and beyond other divisions before he even got to this level. And this Inoue now is even better than the old Inoue that I was saying was already one of the greatest I had ever seen. Which, again, it's ridiculous. And so, again, you can disagree, that's fine. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. But you gotta see it. You gotta watch them back to back. And I think you'll get exactly what I'm trying to describe. I'm not saying you'll agree. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. That's the best way I can give you context to everything I'm describing with why Inoue as a fighter is better than Usyk. As much words as I can use to disseminate what exactly the difference is in talent is. If you see them for yourself, back to back, you will understand exactly why I say what I say. Because it's apparent. When it hits you, it hits you. That's the best thing I can say. When it clicks, it'll click. And it won't be like, you won't be saying that Usyk's just a bum. No, but you'll be like, okay, that's the difference. Okay, I see it now. I see what he's talking about. I think that's what we'll see. But let me keep on reading. Do you give El Chingo Garcia a good shot versus Zayas? I do not. I don't. I think Zayas going to handle him pretty clean. Now, again, full disclosure, I got some bias. I'm high on Zayas. I'm very high on Xander Zayas. I'm very much established with I think Xander Zayas is going to be a phenomenal boxer. A phenomenal boxer. So, full disclaimer, I got some bias today. And I don't think it's going to stop him. So, I don't think it's going to be a close fight. Again, that's me. If I'm wrong, y'all gonna have to see me on Tuesday because I ain't gonna be able to see the fight live. But I don't think it's gonna be close. And I think we're gonna see Zayas knock him out. Garcia is the one who beat Charles Conwell. Yeah, no, he did. Absolutely, he did. I still don't think it's gonna be close. I know it might sound shocking. It might sound shocking. I know, but I do not think that fight's gonna be close. Not at all. Not at all. I think we're gonna see Zayas handle him and put him down. Put him down, and it be shocking to a lot of people. Because I'm really thinking those eyes is young, but with how he's going throughout his career, he is going to be great. Oh, he's going to be really good. Again, if I'm wrong, we'll talk about it. I will curl back that level of enthusiasm in a heartbeat. If in fact we see some level of struggle or a level of, something ain't what I thought it was. But I think it's going to be a situation where we're going to see Zayas show up and really, really show out in this fight. Let me see what people keep on saying. You can't give anybody credit till he fights in the U.S. Well, now, see, he already fought 3 times in the U.S. And he fought, I believe, under Vada in the fight with Roman Cardenas and came back clean. And like he everything was great. Again, he knocked out Maloney, first stint to the U.S. Knocked out, I forget who his name was, but knocked out another brother to the body 3 times to gain a title in the U.S. during COVID. And then this year, went and fought Roman Cardenas in Las Vegas, in the States, testing on Nevada. As I just played the clip, Nevada is the only game in the U.S. right now, outside of, WADA. But he went through and knocked him out and tested with clean. And ain't like a Ryan Garcia situation where anything came back that was dirty. No, he's the truth. He's a bad brother. He's a top 3 fighter in the world, regardless of where you have him. He's a top 3 fighter in the world. And there ain't no controversy to him. He's beating everybody the same way. Knocked them out. He's beating everybody the exact same way. He has put them on their butt and made it so they cannot get up. That's why this fight with Junto Nakatani that we're waiting on in 2026 is so enticing. That's why we can't wait for MJ Akhmadali to fight against Inoue later on this year in September. Because he's just been cleaning the house. His final destination is 126. Once he says he can't make 122, he's fighting Nick Ball. He's fighting Espinosa. He's most likely rematching Stephen Fulton at 126, who, mind you, looks way better. And that's going to be a very interesting display. And he's going to fight Angelo Lee at 126. All limited title holders. Could go out there and speed it there. There's a lot that this brother can do. But it's all been clean. He is just a incredibly gifted, physical athlete with the mind of one of the best boxers we've seen in history. It's insane. Teddy Atlas says it himself, but this cat is on the road to being one of the greatest of all time. We see what Pacquiao was able to do. Not saying he's going to get to that level, but brother, if he wanted to, he could move himself up into the ranks and get like that. If he really tried, brother, he could make a good effort. If his body could take it, he could make a good effort to beat up most of the people up in weight class. It would be insane to see. It's Teddy's words, not mine. So it's ain't no discredit to him. He just like that. He's just a dog like that. But let me keep on going through. Again, this is the championship rounds. Anybody wants to talk about anything, any questions, comments, concerns, debates, whatever you want to discuss, we can discuss it right here on the show with you all on today. Again, it's been a blast. We've been having so much fun. We're coming up on 2 hours, 39 minutes. I'll give it roughly, 10 more minutes? Or maybe like 5 more minutes on the show before we wrap it up and send it home. So anybody else, anything else anybody wants to say about the world of boxing, sports, and beyond? Any other questions? Any more concerns involving fights that are happening? Any updates going on with the boxing world that I may need to discuss and look at when it comes to what's happening? We got Shushu Carrington fighting against is it Heiter? I think it's Heiter. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's Mateus Heiter for the interim belt. Yeah, I forgot he's fighting for that at featherweight. Wait a minute. Featherweight. That's 126. Anyway, could fight Bruce Carrington down the line as well. Ooh, I didn't even think about that. Oh, I didn't think about that. That's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be really interesting. But again, if he wins this interim title, well, then he gets a shot at the official WBC title. And I think he is the WBC champion, unless I am wrong. Oh, excuse me, I think he's the WBO champion already, unless I am wrong. If I'm wrong, please tell me. Wait, does he have 2 interim belts? Wait, hold on. Wait, time out. Wait a minute. Does he have 2 interim belts? Or just one? Yeah, I'll figure it out later on. But even still, anything else anybody wants to say? Anything else anybody wants to discuss? Any questions or conversations people want to talk about? Hey, Trey, what's going on with that, brother? How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks so much for tuning into the show. So glad that you're here with us on today. Again, as you can see above, if you want to give, Cash App, PayPal, links in the description. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like on the stream. Keep on joining, keep on sharing, keep on liking. We're in the championship rounds now. Is there any questions you have? Any conversation you want to discuss, any debates, concerns, topics, boxing or beyond that you want to hear when it comes to the world of sports? We're here to aim. Our aim is to please, entertain, dissect, and debate. Talk and conversate. We have ourselves a phenomenal time as you're going about your Thursday afternoon work or drive or just relaxing at home, or you just want to hear some juicy tidbits when it comes to the world of boxing as a whole. Hey, we're here to what's the term? We're here to appease. We're here to please. We're here to make it happen. We're here to make your day absolutely great. But again, It is a championship round. So we are at the tail end of the show. We got, 5 minutes, just about. I think I said 5 minutes. Just about at 2:45 or 2 hour 45 minute mark. We wrapping this up. We sending it home. We getting out of here. Unless my clock is wrong. We gonna run with this and we gonna go home. But if there's anything else you want to say, any questions, any topics you want to go that we talked about earlier. Again, we talked about the likes of Haney versus Norman. Will Haney pull out of this fight for another reason now that early testing for VADA has been agreed to by Brian Norman, though it wasn't required because it wasn't in the contract. Concern was, will we see Haney and the Haneys keep on pulling out different instances to potentially force this fight not to happen because it is not fitting what they want to do in their career. And if it is indeed true from what we've been hearing with the stuff we've been hearing with Bill Haney, making the game plan that he made for Devin Haney and Jose Ramirez fight, not wanting his son to get caught with the left hook or any power shot for that matter, might not be as confident in his son's ability to take a punch. So, might be biting off more than he can chew in this fight with Brian Norman, just like with what Sean Porter said. They can find a reason to pull out the fight. That could be a conversation. We also talked about the likes of Tank versus Pac-Man, Manny Pacquiao. Would it be possible that fight happened? And if it did, what that would mean for Tank being forced to fight at 147 against other people, like Brian Norman. Like Boots, if again Boots chose to, hey, I'll stay for one more fight at 147 to fight against one of the biggest stars in the sport, knock him out, and then go and commit to move up to 154, hypothetically. And further going into why Tank's career doesn't have as much in the tank, in all well and good. But let me keep on reading what you got to say. How you feel about Bam and Junto possibly being next after the November 22nd card? I mean, like, I would, I'd be excited for it. I'd be excited for it, but with a catch. With a catch. I'd be excited for it, but with a catch. It would need to be that, 1, that fight would make money. 2, that fight would be great. 3, that fight would be part of that deadly triangle of Inoue, Junto, and Bam fighting each other. For now. But that would be a big step up for Junto's first fight. It would. And after November 22nd, I'm going to tell you this. Let me see. Is Bam planning on moving up anytime soon? That's question number 1 before I keep on with this conversation. Is Bam planning to fight and move up anytime soon, or is it still that he's going to stay at 115? Because if he moves up to 118 and fights Bam first, buddy, that's going to be oh my gosh. That would be phenomenal, but also that'd be incredibly dangerous. Not getting your feet wet at 118. And so I would want him to get at least a fight. But I'd be down for it. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. Yes, Bam will be moving up to fight Junto, but Junto will have to release a belt. Ooh, he would, wouldn't he? Ah, dang it. He had to release a belt. Yeah. Make it happen. Make it happen. I don't want to see that. I would love to see that. I would love to see it. Now, who would win? Now, see, that's where it gets tough. Who would win? I got to think about that. That fight. Oh, shoot. See, between Inoue and Junto, I would have a more clear-cut conversation that I would think Inoue would beat Junto. But Bam versus Junto, ooh, that's a good fight. Oh, shoot. Who would win that? Woo, who would win that? I got to think. I gotta really think about that fight. Oh shoot, that's tough. I think I've always touted the matchup, but I've never given it deep thought of who would actually win between Junto and Bam, because I thought that fight was less likely to be most immediate and more likely the Bam and Inoue fight, or the Junto and Inoue fight, would be the fight that was the most pressing thing to happen. But if this fight's starting to become more of a concrete reality, I got to think. Yeah, I got to think. You had to come back to me on that. That's a good fight. That's a good fight because them angles and head movement that can make Junto not be as effective with that left hand that he's always able to throw, and that really destructive offense. But that length and power that Junto can have going against Bam trying to come inside, that can hurt him bad. Cause we already saw Espinosa. We already saw Estrada drop Bam with the shot. That's good. You got Junto. I gotta think. You gotta come back to me on that. That's a good fight. I'm gonna have to come back to that fight because that boy, that's tight. That's a tight fight. That is a tight fight. Let me see. Albuga, Haney's just making noise as usual. And you're right. You ain't right. But see, that's a part of the plan. That's a part of the plan. The plan is to make noise. And the plan is to overwhelm, to either get what you want, or, again, if you're Bill Haney, make your opponent look like, oh, you ain't really about the smoke. Mind you, in the build-up to the Norman Jr. fight, it was Bill Haney that was saying that Norman was the one that backed out of any negotiations. And that Norman was the brother who was making this fight go awry. He don't really want to be in this fight. He don't really want to be in this war. The goal with the Haneys, Bill Haney talks the game up, gets the hype up, then demeans the opponent to make it seem like they don't want to fight, get control of any sort of negotiation ability, and then go through. And if the fight goes through, give a game plan to make it so that Devin Haney comes out on top. Or make it so the fight doesn't happen at all and say, hey, y'all didn't want this smoke. Y'all were scared to fight. Point blank period. And so bing bang boom, that's what happened. That's what transpired. You even had this situation with Devin Haney and Boots. In fact, if y'all didn't know, let me pull up that clip right now with Devin Haney. And Jerron Boots Ennis. And mind you, it is a little bit of a slow day today in terms of news. I will capitulate. But let me see. Here's what Devin Haney had to say when it came to his potential fight with Boots Ennis that was, initially we thought it was going to happen, but now it went by the wayside. Here's what he had to say.
Now then it was like, okay, Brian Garcia was out. Chia was out. Mm-hmm. Now who was next? Mm-hmm. Who was the next best guy that I could fight? Yeah. And we reached out. Well, they came with Boots Ennis. We said yeah. We said let's do it, but we want to do it at 147. They came back with 152. I'm like, why would I fight at 152? I never even fought at 147. No, we can do it at 147 or not. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then he moved up or whatever, and then Brian Norman. Now then it was like, okay, Brian Garcia was out.
As you can see, right there. Now again, situation's a little bit different, understandable. But this brings another conversation with the whole affair with Boots. Let me see. Hold on. Wait, I ain't even got to think of. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a second. Nope, that ain't it. That ain't it either. Where's the right title card? There we go. Okay. Let me see. He knew Boots couldn't make. Yep. See. He knew he couldn't make it. Now, I will give Haney this. It was his first stint at 147. We'll give him that. Mind you, he fought with a catchweight at 143 against Ryan Garcia because Ryan Garcia couldn't make weight in the fight that was initially 140. Then he fought at 147 against Jose Ramirez in his first fight in a new division. I will capitulate that. But at the same time, Devin Haney has also fought night of fight at 168. Let's not forget that. Don't forget that. He's fought at 168. Shoot, one report said he came in at 180 when he fought against Regis Prograis. 180, 175 when he fought against Regis Prograis at 140. And normally he has outweighed his opponents on the night of the fight. Because, again, naturally he is a big kid, though he is not a great puncher. He's a big guy. Absolutely. So he could have made 154. He could have, more easily than any other weight cut, he would have been able to make 152 comfortably. He absolutely would have. Devin Haney would have been able to make 152 comfortably. Shoot, he can make 160 comfortably. From the standpoint of where he's come in on the nights of fights in the past. Even with the caveat of 147 being the first time he fought at the division. Now, with that being said, he did know that Boots was going up to 154. He did know that. That was already established. Now, why? Though I get why Haney wouldn't take the fight. He wouldn't fight him regardless. Most likely, I'm glad he didn't fight him because he would have gotten knocked out. Just like I think he's going to get knocked out against Brian Norman Jr., but incredibly worse. If it was Boots Ennis, oh my gosh. My goodness. I think we said after that fight. I think he said after that fight. Well, we said after that fight with Ramirez, brother, don't fight Norman. And sure enough, don't fight Boots Ennis. If he's still around the division in any way. We were saying that because you're gonna die. You're gonna get destroyed. You are going to be put in a you thought that the layoff with Ryan Garcia was gonna be long. Brother. Bill Haney might not let you fight again if you fight against Boots Ennis. There's some serious danger with Brian Norman Jr. Don't get me wrong at 147. But Boots, 147 or 54. Or catch with the 52. But if you thought that Boots, or excuse me, if you thought that Norman was gonna be a big stake to try to eat, a big task to try to take on, and a physical threat that, hey, you may be in some trouble, and you thought that we were saying your boxing wasn't gonna be able to work against him, brother, if you tried to box against Boots, you might as well quit. If you're Devin Haney and you try to box like you normally do against Boots, you might as well quit. There's no way you beat him. There would be no way. After the first punch, I'm throwing in the towel. After the first shot, I'm throwing in the towel. If Devin Haney was fighting Boots in it, I guarantee, I promise. After the first jab by Boots, I'm saying, yeah, we done. I'm not even going to test it. Because I know what's going to happen if that fight happens. Put the threat level of Brian Norman up by 6. That's what we would see. It'd be hard. But again, you could have made the weight. You could have made the weight. You could have made the weight and it could have gotten the money. Could have gotten the bag. Now again, you fighting against Norman Jr., you're still getting the bag, still a big fight. Absolutely no question. But you could have. But again, the tactics that they play. Like I said, we can capitulate Devin Haney doesn't duck smoke. But we can also capitulate that if stuff don't go the way they want it to go, they ain't going about it no way. Two things can be true. Devin Haney doesn't avoid competition. But at the same time, if things aren't like he wants it to be, he won't fight you. Even if you are a big threat. Because he might not be scared to fight anybody. But he also isn't going to fight anybody under circumstances that don't fit his MO. That's the truth. That's the truth, man. Or unless you got some big thing to gain. Like a huge opportunity to gain. Like with Tank Davis. If he fought against Tank, yeah, he probably do whatever the word Tank wanted to do because that'll be a huge fight. That's worth the risk. And again, Devin Haney, as a fighter, ain't afraid of. But if you ain't Tank, and things aren't the way that they want it to go, like we see now in Brian Norman Jr., again, you get the conversations of, yep, we might just take our ball and go home. Hypothetically. So, whole other can of worms. But again, I think that's all we got to say. Let's see, I got Junto by KO. Well, we can talk about that tomorrow. Because we got to get out of here. It's almost 3 hours. We went well past what I said we were going to do for the time we're staying on the show. And we got to go, sadly. So we got to, because I got to prep, not just for tomorrow, but also because I got some stuff I got to do tonight. Yes, sir. We're going to go see a movie, Fantastic Four. We're going to see if this hype is going to be real and if this thing's going to be worth it. Because gosh, if it ain't going to be hot. But with all that being said, this has been another episode. Love to watch, but with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We appreciate your time, your effort, your energy, and your fervor. Thank you so much for coming about and joining us on this Thursday afternoon. We had a blast. We had a time. Got to talk about all of the great fights with Tank, with Pacquiao, with the likes of Brian Norman and Devin Haney, and much more coming down the line. Be sure to be back here tomorrow. We're going to have a lot more to talk about championship rounds all day tomorrow. You all drive the conversation. You all drive the voice. Be sure to like the video before you leave. Comment your thoughts on what you liked or didn't like about the show. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And be sure hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube. Be sure to share the show with everybody that you know. I've been John. And Cash App, PayPal, links in the description if you want to come and support. Love King, thanks for tuning into the show. So glad that you're here. We're going to catch you all on tomorrow. Be safe. Be blessed. Have fun. And peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, sir. We're going to see you all on Friday.